Chapter 1164. When facing the strange, deep abyss, the two cautiously chose to stop. They did not want to experience that strange state of being unable to move again. What should we do? Failing, he looked at Bing Shuejian. Bing Shuejian said indifferently, "You have the jadeite. Go down and check it out. If we let these two escape, we will suffer a great loss and lose all our face. Scram, your sword soul is already 70% comprehended. Together with the will of ice, it is undefeatable. Why don't you go down first?" Failing, he scolded. The two clashed with each other, neither willing to go down first. Speaking of which, Xiao Chun and Yu Bingyun, who had reached the bottom of the deep abyss, did not feel good at all. Their bodies stuck to the ground. No matter how hard they tried, they could not move at all. What was even worse was that his internal organs, flesh, and bones were being pulled and squeezed by the strange ground. If they could not think of a solution in a while, their internal organs would be torn apart. At that time, his death would be as miserable as it could be. Don't panic. This is the true cultivation place of the Blood Sword Sovereign. The gravity here is 100 times stronger than elsewhere. After you get used to it, it will not be difficult for you to slowly stand up. Don't scare yourself to death. At the critical moment, Ao Jiao said from the Immortal Spirit Ring. However, she continued, your physical body is strong, so there should not be any problems. However, that woman will be somewhat problematic. It is hard to say whether she can last until her physical body gets used to the environment here. Xiao Chun, who had just released his bated breath, could not help feeling anxious when he heard that. He turned his head with much difficulty to look at Yu Bingyun. Indeed, the white-haired Yu Bingyun showed an expression of pain. Blood leaked out of a corner of her lips, and she looked incredibly pale. The originally aloof Lunar Palace holy daughter no longer had any of her elegant and otherworldly air. Xiao Chen's heart suddenly sank. He did not like owing favors. If Yu Bingyun died here, he would feel guilty for life, forming an indelible shadow in his heart. What should I do? I have to stand up first. Otherwise, I cannot circulate my energy to treat my injuries and recover to my peak state. If Xiao Chun was at his peak, he should be able to walk to the other party's side if he used his blue dragon war body again. However, the prerequisite was that he could stand up. Yu Bingyun was muddle-headed and in unbearable pain. She was in a daze, feeling like she was really going to die this time. Her 5 viscera and 6 bowels had been torn apart by the gravitational pull, and blood was everywhere. It wouldn't be long before she died from her shattered internal organs. She was completely powerless, and in this dizzy state, she was already prepared to die. Yu Bingyun, hold on. Don't die here. Give me 1 hour. 1 hour. You have to hold on for 1 hour. Right at that moment, a loud roar entered her ears. His voice was filled with anxiety, urgency, and unquestionable confidence. Hold on. Wait for me for 1 hour. After 1 hour, I'll come and save you. Yu Bingyun opened her eyes with some difficulty and saw Xiao Chun, who was not far away. He was currently doing his best to stand up, staring at her. The two's gazes met, and Xiao Chun revealed a smile with some difficulty. Don't be so useless. Don't forget your status. You are the Lunar Palace's holy daughter. After all, someone with a venerated status. I, Xiao Chun, have always been cursed by others to the point that I cannot die. You will not die, either. Just wait for me for 1 hour. Yu Bingyun felt somewhat speechless. She wanted to say something, but found that she could not. Her vocal cords moved slightly, and it affected her wounds. Don't say anything. Just listen to me. Xiao Chen knew that it was not convenient for the other party to speak at this moment. However, she needed someone to talk to her. Otherwise, if she fell asleep, she would never wake up again. Xiao Chun quickly stopped Yu Bingyun, who wanted to speak. After saying that, Xiao Chun, who had been preparing for a long time, clenched his fists and hammered the ground ferociously. Xiao Chen's entire upper body left the ground, and he nearly got up. However, he did not have enough momentum. The gravity pulled him down, and after Xiao Chun got up, he fell back down heavily. This strike was not light. When Xiao Chun opened his mouth, he vomited a mouthful of blood. Ignoring his injuries, he mocked Yu Bingyun somewhat self-deprecatingly. Before he could even wipe away the blood at the corner of his lips, Xiao Chun continued storing up power, preparing for the next attempt. Bang! 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 Dull thuds resounded endlessly in the deep abyss. Every time they rang out, it meant that Xiao Chun failed once. Xiao Chun did not know how many times he failed, but he did not intend to give up. Every time he failed, he would look at Yu Bingyun and chat with her. After Xiao Chun verified that she had not fallen asleep, he prepared for the next attempt. Ao Jiao, who was in the Immortal spirit ring, could no longer bear to watch. She said, "You idiot, stop trying. Be careful that you will not be able to save the other party and end up killing yourself." Little Ao Jiao, stop saying that. She ended up in such a state because she tried to save me. If I ignore her, I will feel guilty for the rest of my life. I will be a man in vain. Xiao Chun replied to Ao Jiao in his heart. Then, he continued to try. He felt like he had broken several bones in his back. However, the repeated failures gave him a lot of experience, allowing him to grasp some techniques for circulating his energy in this gravity. As he familiarized himself with these techniques, Xiao Chun believed that he could adapt to the environment here and stand up earlier. In the end, he could not wipe away the blood leaking out of the corner of Xiao Chun's lips. This made his delicate face look somewhat ugly and horrifying. Compared to the unrivaled elegance that Xiao Chun had shown at the Four Seas Hero Gathering, the current Xiao Chun did not have any of his past aura. However, every time this bloody face looked at her, Yu Bingyun did not feel any repulsion. Instead, she felt especially at ease and an indescribable pain. If she could speak, she would definitely shout to stop Xiao Chun. The intense pain after every failure was simply unbearable. At some point in time, a tear fell from the corner of her eye. Bang! Another loud sound rang out, and Xiao Chun landed heavily. However, this time, he did not immediately speak to Yu Bingyun. He just lay there motionlessly. Yu Bingyun's heart sank. Xiao Chun was definitely too severely injured and could not hold on. The two of them were going to die here. Just as Yu Bingyun felt very nervous and worried, Xiao Chun, who had been silent for a while, roared ferociously. Then, Xiao Chun clenched his fists and punched the ground heavily again. His upper body soared up again. When the gravity pressed down, Xiao Chun's vital qi surged like a gushing river, gushing endlessly. After using up all of his strength, his body had finally adapted to the gravitational environment here after thousands of failures. His qi could circulate in a circular manner. Then, Xiao Chun flipped over and knelt on one knee, panting heavily. After a while, he looked up at Yu Bingyun. When he discovered that she had not closed her eyes yet, he revealed a smile. 1 hour is just right. Don't give up. I'm coming over immediately. The kneeling Xiao Chun slowly got up. Then, he walked over to Yu Bingyun with much difficulty. When Xiao Chun reached her side, he quickly took out some medicinal pills for treating injuries, which he bought at the blue-robed emperor auction, and fed them to her. After that, Xiao Chun slowly helped Yu Bingyun up. After being here for so long, she had already gotten used to it. He had gotten used to it, and the process of helping the other party up wasn't too difficult. Without saying anything more, Xiao Chun threw a palm strike on Yu Bingyun's back. Then, he infused his law energy into her body, speeding up the recovery of the medicinal energy. At the same time, it helped Yu Bingyun recover from the injuries to her internal organs. As the king-grade medicinal pills slowly permeated her body, Yu Bingyun's body started to recover quickly. To Xiao Chun's surprise, Yu Bingyun had law energy circulating in a special meridian. However, a blood clot blocked a certain meridian, preventing it from circulating smoothly. Instead, it aggravated Yu Bingyun's injuries. This should be the Lunar Palace's profound cultivation technique, the longevity art. Xiao Chun immediately circulated his energy and melted the blood clot, opening up that meridian. The longevity art immediately circulated quickly. After it automatically circulated once, Yu Bingyun's injuries miraculously healed by half. Such a healing effect was incredible. The longevity art was truly profound. After Yu Bingyun's condition stabilized and the longevity art could continue circulating, Xiao Chun heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he let Yu Bingyun lie down slowly. After putting a healing pill into his mouth, he began to slowly heal himself. There were not many surprises. Time passed quietly. After one night, the two had more or less recovered. Their bodies had already adapted to this strange gravity. Although it was still difficult for them to move, they no longer had much of a problem standing up. Yu Bingyun opened her eyes, and her complexion recovered its rosy color. She looked radiant, regaining the air of a holy daughter. She carefully sat up and immediately looked to the side. However, she did not see the figure she wanted to see. Yu Bingyun immediately looked around in a fluster. Only then did she discover that Xiao Chan was standing in front of a wall, paying close attention to it. Hearing the commotion behind him, Xiao Chun quickly turned his head back and discovered that Yu Bingyun's white hair had already turned back into elegant black hair. He suppressed the doubts in his heart and smiled. "You're awake?" Yu Bingyun nodded and shifted her gaze away from Xiao Chen's back. Then, she asked carefully, "How are the injuries on your back?" Xiao Chen replied calmly, "They're already healed. I have a peak sage body and the blue dragon war body. This level of injury is nothing to me." "How did you endure that kind of pain yesterday?" Yu Bingyun asked after thinking for a long time. When she thought of Xiao Chen's actions yesterday, Yu Bingyun still felt some lingering fear in her heart. Even now, Yu Bingyun still felt some lingering fear in her heart. She simply did not know how Xiao Chen managed to persevere. Was it for her? Xiao Chen smiled faintly and said, "In the past, when I was cultivating my physical body, I experienced even more pain than this. There was also the lightning tribulation, which was even more unbearable. Now that I think about it, compared to the pain I experienced in the past, yesterday's pain is not even worth mentioning." When Yu Bingyun heard this, she was stunned. Xiao Chen was famous and had a bright appearance. Among the same generation, he was a king. What exactly did he experience? Chapter 1165. The kind of pain that made people feel the same way yesterday, in his mouth, was actually not worth mentioning. Let's not talk about this for now. This is not something glorious. If I had not worked too hard in the past, I would not have only 4 years left. Xiao Chen paused for a while, and his gaze fell on the startling wind zither beside Yu Bingyun. He had many questions to ask as well. What's with this startling wind zither? With your strength, you should not be able to activate it, right? The merfolk race's Yao Yan had sacrificed 8 great perfection Emperor Wu's lives to give her the strength to activate a primordial emperor treasure. Xiao Chun did not believe that the lunar palace would be so bold, sacrificing so many Emperor Wus to help Yu Bingyun. Yu Bingyun gave it a try and struggled to her feet. Then, she picked up the startling wind zither and said, "Playing one note cost me a portion of my lifespan. When I played earlier, I used up 10 years of my lifespan." Xiao Chen's pupils constricted in some incredulity. "Don't be nervous." Yu Bingyun smiled and said, "Cultivators who cultivate the longevity art have extremely long lifespans. With the heavenly origin pill you gave me, even if I do not become Emperor Wu, I will still have a long lifespan of 1,000 years." Xiao Chun felt enlightened. However, even so, using up 10 years of her lifespan on a whim still made him feel heartache. "Actually, as long as I do not play the complete song, it will not harm my foundation. However, without the complete song, I cannot bring out the might of the startling wind zither. I need to cultivate the longevity art to the 9th layer before I can be confident of playing the complete song." With just one note, Yu Bingyun could force 2 half-step Emperor Wus to retreat, forcing them to defend passively. Xiao Chun felt some anticipation. If it was the complete song, what kind of glory would this transcendent divine weapon show? "Oh, by the way, what were you looking at earlier? You were so engrossed in it." Xiao Chun smiled mysteriously and said, "Come with me." The two moved with great difficulty. In this world where gravity doubled, they walked forward step by step. This scene looked very funny. When Yu Bingyun walked over and saw the painting on the wall, a strange light flashed in her eyes. The painting was very simple. There was only a person, a sword, and a pair of eyes that no one dared to look directly at. There were not many traces of the swordsman in the painting, only a simple silhouette. However, the sword intent of the person in the painting still surged boundlessly even after 50,000 years. With just a few glances, Yu Bingyun felt an unparalleled sharp sword intent enter her sea of consciousness, instantly coming to life and materializing a boundlessly profound sword technique. This sword technique was tyrannical and unyielding. Every strike could pierce the sky and tear space. As his silhouette flickered, he exuded a surging, blood-boiling fighting spirit, causing others to feel as if their blood was burning as well. When Yu Bingyun finished materializing this sword technique, a strange expression flashed on her face. She said, "This is a medial-grade, profound sword technique. Its might is unfathomable, extremely profound." Xiaoqian nodded. There were dozens of paintings on the walls, all of which contained the Blood Sword Sovereign's sword moves. Every single one of them was a mid-grade, profound sword technique. Even after more than 50,000 years, these sword intents still hadn't disappeared. This only served to highlight how powerful these sword intents were. Unfortunately, there is no way to record the profound martial techniques here. You and I are not swordsmen. It's such a pity. Yu Bingyun shook her head slightly and sighed. The value of medial-grade, profound martial techniques went without saying. In Yu Bingyun's memories, the entire Lunar Palace only had 10-odd medial-grade, profound martial techniques. There were too few choices. None of them were suitable for her. It wasn't that the weapons were different. It was that their wills were conflicting. In the Kunlun realm, the number of cultivators who used swords was probably the highest. There were so many medial-grade, profound sword moves here. If he brought it out, who knew what kind of sky-high price it would fetch? Perhaps even Emperor Wu would fight over it. Xiao Qian smiled mysteriously and said, "That's not all. Take a look at your will and see if it has improved." When Yu Bingyun heard this, she closed her eyes. After a while, she revealed a joyful expression on her face. She opened her eyes and said, "My will of water improved by minor perfection." "What's going on? This is too wondrous." Xiaoqian glanced at the wall and said, "I just discovered it. The sword intent in this wall has the ability to temper the will. However, it is rather simple this time. If you want to temper it later, you will need to endure some danger. Let these sword intents enter deeper into your sea of consciousness, fighting with your will. If you lose, the moment your will breaks, it will be extremely unbearable." When Yu Bingyun heard this, she was startled. Let the sword intents enter the depths of the sea of consciousness. If you are not careful, you might end up becoming an idiot. Xiaoqian smiled and did not say anything more. If one wanted to obtain something, one had to take some risks. Xiaoqian felt that this risk was worth taking. Aside from tempering the will, the strong sword intent that the Blood Sword Sovereign left behind had a greater use for tempering Xiaoqian's Saber Soul. Xiaoqian's Saber Soul had already reached 50% comprehension and was extremely difficult to raise. He absolutely could not miss out on this fortuitous encounter before him. Thinking of something, Xiaoqian handed the life and death art in his hand over and said, "Take a look at this life and death art first." Yu Bingyun received the life and death art with some surprise. Unexpectedly, Xiaoqian let her read the life and death art that he obtained after so much difficulty. "What about you? After all, I can't go out for now. I'll just cultivate here in peace for a while. With such gravity, there will definitely be great benefits to cultivating, be it my movement technique, cultivation, or physical body." Yu Bingyun smiled and said, "It looks like you are extraordinarily optimistic. In that case, I'll take a look at this life and death art first. After you finish cultivating, I'll explain it to you and discuss the mysteries of the life and death art together." In the following days, Yu Bingyun read quietly, and Xiaoqian started cultivating bitterly. Xiaoqian arranged his time very strictly for cultivation. In the morning, he would practice his movement technique. With this 100-fold gravity, the effects on his movement technique were the most obvious. In the afternoon, he would observe the murals and temper his saber soul. In the afternoon, he would temper his physical body and cultivate the blue dragon body, nourishing art. At night, he would consume essence stones, allowing his cultivation to advance rapidly, heading toward the peak of great perfection, blue-robed emperor. Time slowly went by. Soon, the two had spent a week in this place where the blood sword sovereign once cultivated. During this week, the two had been rather fulfilled. They did not feel bored or frustrated. On the other hand, Bing Shuejian, Fei Lingyi, and the remaining four consummation blue-robed emperors did not have it easy. They were already incredibly frustrated, their patience wearing thin. However, they did not have the courage to jump down themselves. There were too many unpredictable things, making Bing Shuejian and Fei Lingyi very apprehensive. "This won't do. We cannot afford to waste time here," Fei Lingyi said indifferently. Bing Shuejian retorted coldly, "I already told you to go down and take a look. You have the jadeite, so you can retreat safely." Jin Liangqi and the other three consummation blue-robed emperors also looked at Fei Lingyi. Fei Lingyi had the strongest individual combat prowess here. He was the most suitable to go down. Fei Lingyi retorted angrily, "Don't even think about it. Below us is the source of the gravity. If I go down, something unexpected might happen." Bing Shuejian smiled coldly and said, "I thought you had some good ideas. Unexpectedly, you are still a coward. What I said is equivalent to not saying anything." Fei Lingyi glanced at the pitch-black deep abyss and said, "Who says I don't have any ideas? Of those 5 coffins, aren't there still 2 that have not been opened? Toss 2 down and let these blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters scout the way for us. At the very least, we will be able to obtain some information from the sounds." When the others heard this, their eyes lit up. They knew very well how horrifying the blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters were. When a few of them worked together, they spent a lot of effort before completely killing the 2 blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters that Shao Chun released. Furthermore, these blood-sucking monsters clearly had a stronger resistance to gravity than humans. If they released 2, it would definitely be more than enough to deal with Shao Chun. Even if they could not obtain the life and death art, they could prevent Shao Chun from obtaining it. Bing Shuejian swept his gaze over Jin Liangqi and the others indifferently. He said, "The few of you, go and bring those 2 coffins over." Although Jin Liangqi and the others were not happy about this, they had no choice but to obey. They still had to rely on Bing Shuejian to deal with Fei Lingyi. Soon, the 2 coffins were brought over. Bing Shuejian glanced at the deep abyss and said, "Brat, you gave me a gift earlier. Now, I will give you a big gift as well." Bing Shuejian opened the 2 coffins. Then, he sent out a palm strike and pushed the coffins down. Bang, bang, bang. 2 loud sounds came from below. The group of people stood at the edge of the deep abyss and did their best to look down, wanting to know what was happening below. The sonic booms immediately startled Shao Chun, who cultivated the Thunder Dragon Steps. Now that Shao Chun executed the Thunder Dragon Steps, he could jump 300 meters freely in this place where the gravity was 100 times stronger. His movement technique had clearly improved, and he could summon out 12 lightning dragons to increase his speed. "Be careful." Shao Chun's figure flashed, and he took 10 steps in the air, leaving behind a lightning dragon image with each step. After 10 steps, Shao Chun arrived beside Yu Bingyan. The remnant dragon image in the air instantly entered his body. This allowed Shao Chun's explosive power to increase further. Then, he quickly carried Yu Bingyan away. Pa! 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 Amid loud sounds, the 2 blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters landed where Yu Bingyan had been. Unexpectedly, these 2 blood-sucking monsters did not lie on the ground. Instead, they were standing. They were in a much better state than when Shao Chun first fell into this place. However, when Shao Chun saw these 3 blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters, he did not show any fear. He smiled faintly and said, "You came at a good time. I happen to need to test the results of my cultivation during this period. Don't make a move. Leave it to me alone." A strong fighting spirit flickered in Shao Chun's eyes as he gestured for Yu Bingyun not to make a move, letting him do it alone. "Can you do it?" Yu Bingyun found this slightly strange. The difficulty of dealing with these blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters was clear for all to see. Even Bing Xuejian and Fei Lingyi could not deal with them quickly. Xiaochen stepped forward and said calmly, "If we were outside, I would not be very confident. However, here I am 99% confident." Chapter 1166. Thunder Dragon Steps. Moving his feet, Xiaochen flickered with crackling sparks. With each step, he left behind a dragon-shaped figure as he charged forward. When the two blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters smelled Xiaochen's flourishing qi and blood, their eyes flickered with a red light. Disgusting liquid leaked out of the corners of their mouths. Despite the hundredfold gravity, the blood-sucking monsters moved frantically, clashing with Xiaochen's attacks. In close combat, Xiaochen's fists, palms, and claws moved rapidly. In one moment, he executed the deity race's myriad heaven divine fist. In the next moment, he executed the thousand-year flame, which he comprehended himself. In the next moment, he turned into a sharp dragon claw. Xiaochen's figure flickered as the attacks of the two blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters moved as fast as the wind. None of their attacks could hit him. In an environment with 100-fold gravity, Xiaochen's movement technique and physical body had a natural advantage. The two blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters could not touch him at all. After several dozen moves, Xiaochen sent out the thousand-year flame with one palm strike and thousand-year death with the other. The two completely different states appear to be in perfect balance in Xiaochen's hands, waiting for the moment to erupt. When it was time to erupt, one side was surging with a fiery bright moon. The other side was covered with flowers and a scarlet moon. The two blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters could not resist at all. They exploded into pieces and flew away. However, the blood-sucking monster's strength had never come from explosive power or combat prowess. Instead, it came from their unparalleled recovery ability. Just as their shattered bodies were about to fall from the air, they quickly merged back together with a whoosh. Whoosh, whoosh. When the blood-sucking monsters landed, they could already move freely on the ground. The aura they exuded was even more frightening. Is it really unkillable? With a flip of his palm, the lunar shadow saber appeared in Xiaochen's left hand. The saber intent in his sea of consciousness started to circulate, spreading throughout his entire body. After driving the flawless saber Dao, Xiaochen's clothes and hair fluttered without any wind. A sharp saber intent spread out from his body without restraint. The two blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters glanced at Xiaochen and roared before rushing over. Its adaptability was unexpectedly strong. Compared to before, the speed of the blood-sucking monster was clearly much faster. Yu Bingyun frowned slightly, wanting to make a move. She needed to end this quickly. Otherwise, the longer this dragged on, the more disadvantageous the situation would be for Xiaochen. When the two quasi-emperor-level blood-sucking monsters completely adapted to the gravity here, no matter how capable Xiaochen was, he would not be a match for them. Yu Bingyun, just as the two blood-sucking monsters approached, Xiaochen slowly spat out a word and instantly drew his lunar shadow saber. Whoosh! Whoosh! The saber soul that he had been storing up for a long time erupted at this moment. Yu Bingyun was astonished. The saber soul in Xiaochen's heart was already infinitely close to 60% comprehension. All sorts of mysterious phenomena flashed amid the magnificent saber light. This was Xiaochen's strongest profound martial technique, instant of glory, a profound martial technique that could condense all the saber techniques into it. Only one saber strike, eternal glory. Before the two blue-robed emperor-level blood-sucking monsters could react, the light infused with the lightning saber soul instantly tore them into pieces and fixed them in a painting. The fresh blood added a trace of ice-cold, killing intent to this boundlessly resplendent painting. It was not over yet. At the crucial moment, Xiaochen perfectly merged his state of death and saber soul into eternity. Xiaochen gently pushed off the ground and entered that beautiful painting. The Death Saber Soul worked together with the Four-Season Saber technique and started a frenzied massacre. Shao Chun minced the two blood-sucking monsters that had been torn into pieces again, cutting off all signs of life. Kasie. Shao Chun sheathed his saber, and the sound of glass shattering rang out. This glorious painting shattered with the sound of shattering. Its flourishing splendor faded away, no longer glorious. The two Emperor-grade blood-sucking monsters turned into ashes and vanished, unable to recover. A strange light flickered in Yu Bingyun's eyes. Shao Chen's earlier saber strike seemed to have touched upon the borders of the state of space. The instant Shao Chun used the saber, he materialized hundreds of mysterious phenomena, forming a painting that fixed space in place. It was precisely because the space was fixed that the blood-sucking monster, which had extremely strong regenerative abilities, did not reform immediately after it was shattered. Shao Chun, what was that move of yours called? Yu Bingyun asked quickly, unable to hold back her curiosity. The state of space was something that even Emperor Wu found hard to comprehend. Unexpectedly, Shao Chun touched upon its borders. Shao Chun answered honestly, "Instant of glory." What about it? Nothing. The moment Yu Bingyun said that, she regretted it. This matter definitely touched on Shao Chen's secrets. How could she ask so directly? If Yu Bingyun continued asking, she would touch on the other party's core secrets. Hence, she quickly stopped asking. However, she could not get rid of the curiosity in her heart. Shao Chen looked at Yu Bingyun's appearance, wanting to ask but not daring to. He could not help finding it funny. He said, "I comprehended this move myself. It can unleash the states of all my martial techniques in an instant. I just discovered it as well. As my strength increased, this move touched upon the boundaries of the state of space. It is not me who touched upon the borders of the state of space. I'm still very far from it." Yu Bingyun showed a slightly embarrassed expression. She had not expected Shao Chun to see through her and tell her the secret honestly. Yu Bingyun quickly changed the topic. "What should we do now? These two blue-robed Emperor-grade blood-sucking monsters must have been thrown down by them." Shao Chun smiled casually. "There's no need to worry. We can afford to waste time. Just stay here and cultivate in peace. If they dare to come down, even if it is Bing Xuejian and Fei Lingyi, I will not let them return alive." At the end of Shao Chen's words, the tyrannical aura that he unintentionally exuded made everyone's heart tremble, not daring to doubt it. Above the deep chasm, the people paying attention to the commotion below heard the sound of sabers. The unique roars of the blue-robed Emperor-grade blood-sucking monsters did not appear again. Without a doubt, his expression became very ugly. The result went without saying. Based on the sound alone, Shao Chen's saber technique finished off the two blue-robed Emperor-grade blood-sucking monsters. Just like that, Bing Xuejian and Fei Lingyi, who had been hesitant and had run out of patience, made their own decisions. They absolutely could not jump into this deep chasm. Otherwise, they might really end up dying at the hands of this junior, Shao Chun. Since they could not jump down, they could only wait here. To the half-step Emperor Wu, they simply could not afford to waste any more time. In the end, there was only one option left: leave. Bing Xuejian snorted coldly and looked down deeply. Then, he turned around and left decisively. Fei Lingyi's eyes flickered. Clearly, he had not expected that this life and death art would end up in the hands of a junior. Fei Lingyi stomped his feet and left helplessly in the end. Jin Liangqi and the others exchanged glances, not knowing what to do. Should they stay or leave? They could not make a choice. After discussing for a while without any results, Jin Liangqi said, "Let's wait a while more. They are half-step Emperor Wu. Time is very precious. We are all consummation blue-robed emperors. Wasting 1 or 2 months here is not a problem." "Good. We'll wait for another 2 months. I don't believe that this fellow will not come out. At that time, the instant they appear, we will attack at the same time. Do not give them any chance to resist, lest something unexpected happens." What could possibly happen? We are 4 peak consummation blue-robed emperors. Dealing with 2 great perfection blue-robed emperors will be easy. In that case, it's settled. The two half-step Emperor Wu left feeling depressed. Now, only 4 consummation blue-robed emperors remained above the deep chasm, continuing to wait for Shao Chun to appear. However, these 4 did not know that when Shao Chun truly showed his strength, how could they deal with him? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At the bottom of the deep chasm, Shao Chun took 7 steps in the air. With each step, he rose 100 meters. When he rose 700 meters, he felt the pull of gravity becoming too strong, so he turned around and fell. Not far away, Yu Bingyan put down the life and death art. She smiled and said, "Not bad. You improved significantly from 3 days ago. If you go out, your movement technique will improve by at least 20%. Shao Chun estimated the height of the deep chasm to be about 5 kilometers. If it were any other place, he could instantly fly up in one breath. However, the gravity here was 100 times stronger than outside. Shao Chun used his full power and could only climb 700 meters. Wiping the sweat off his forehead, Shao Chun asked, "How is the life and death art? Is this secret technique reliable?" This was the greatest harvest of this trip. Shao Chun had high hopes for it. Whether he could condense the heart of an emperor or not depended on the life and death art in Yu Bingyun's hands. I only read a third of it. The words in it are too cryptic and difficult to pronounce. However, it is most likely correct. The life and death art can indeed allow one to condense the heart of an emperor in advance, Yu Bingyun answered honestly. Given her talent, comprehension ability, and experience, since she said that, it really could not be wrong. Shao Chun could not help but be in a good mood. What he feared the most was wasting too much time on the consummation blue-robed emperor stage, missing the opportunity to advance to martial emperor. Now, it looked like as long as he had this life and death art, he should not have any problems breaking through to consummation blue-robed emperor within 2 years. After that, he would spend another 2 years to prepare and clear his great tribulation of wind and fire in one go, opening the emperor's door. Although the plan was ingenious, the risks involved were indescribable. Spending only 2 years to prepare was still too short. If one was not careful during the great tribulation of wind and fire, they would most likely die, consigned to eternal damnation. Regular consummation blue-robed emperors would find it hard to make up their minds even after preparing for 100 years. Even outstanding talents would need at least 5 years to prepare before they were confident of clearing their great tribulation of wind and fire. However, no matter what, this was good news. Without the life and death art, Shao Chun estimated that he would have to spend at least 3 years on the great perfection blue-robed emperor stage, perhaps even 4. At that time, the time left for him would be practically 0. Shao Chun withdrew his gaze and went to a new wall painting. Then he started to use the sword intent that the blood sword sovereign left behind 50,000 years ago to temper his saber soul. Now that half a month had passed, Shao Chun's 50% comprehended saber soul was already infinitely close to 60% comprehended. After all, the blood sword sovereign's half-step Emperor Wu's sword soul was only 70% comprehended. However, Fei Lingyi's sword soul was only 60% comprehended. Right now, Shao Chun was only a great perfection blue-robed emperor, but his saber soul was already so profound. This showed how horrifying it was. When Yu Bingyan saw this scene, she shook her head. After she tried it once, she did not use the sword intent to temper herself again. Not to mention the pain, it was extremely dangerous. It felt like her soul was dancing on the edge of a saber. Chapter 1167. Only Shao Chun had the courage and perseverance to use this sword intent to temper himself. The days went by unhurriedly. After another month, Shao Chun's saber soul finally broke through 50% comprehension, reaching 60% comprehension. Rumors said that when one's saber soul reached 100% comprehension, the gaze of one's gaze could turn into a tangible blade, killing with one look. Now that Shao Chun's saber soul reached 60% comprehension, the most obvious change was the strength of his aura. Yu Bingyan estimated that even a consummation blue-robed emperor would feel their soul tremble when standing before Shao Chun. Xiao Qin's movement technique also improved rapidly. Xiao Qin's movement technique also improved rapidly. He completely cultivated the Thunder Dragon steps to great perfection. In one breath, he could take 18 steps. Each step left behind a dragon-shaped afterimage that lingered for a long time. Xiao Qin's body became like a dragon, crackling with electric light. The tyrannical nature of this movement technique was completely manifested. When fighting with an enemy, it could infinitely boost Xiao Qin's aura, perfectly complementing his various saber techniques. With the aid of the Essence Stones, Xiao Qin's cultivation advanced rapidly. In a short 1.5 months, he was already not far from the peak of great perfection blue-robed emperor. Xiao Qin, who had improved significantly in all aspects, felt very proud of himself. Just as he was about to charge into the deep abyss, he received some bad news. After 1.5 months, Yu Bingyan finally finished reading the Life and Death art. After reading it, she dealt Xiao Qin a heavy blow. By cultivating the Life and Death art to the 9th layer, Yu Bingyan could help the blue-robed emperor condense a heart of an emperor in advance. However, the prerequisite was that Xiao Qin needed 2 things to assist him: the Flower of Life and the Death Fruit. This was not strange. Several special martial techniques and cultivation techniques in the world required some natural treasures to be cultivated. Unfortunately, these 2 natural treasures had already gone extinct 10,000 years ago. Without the Flower of Life and the Death Fruit, one could not cultivate the Life and Death art, not even the 1st layer. Yu Bingyan closed the Life and Death art and said, "I originally thought that without these 2 natural treasures, cultivation would just be slightly more difficult. After reading it, I realized that without the Flower of Life and the Death Fruit, it would be impossible to properly cultivate. I recall that there should be some flowers of life in the Human Demon Sea, which is the Blood Sword Sovereign's hometown. However, the Death Fruit is truly extinct. It has already been 10,000 years since a Death Fruit has appeared. Many ghost race great emperors have been searching for a Death Fruit at an astronomical price. If it existed, it would have appeared long ago." What kind of place was the Human Demon Sea? After Yu Bingyan explained, Xiao Qin learned that the people living there were mostly demon mixed bloods like the Blood Sword Sovereign or fiendish demon mixed bloods. It was extremely far from the heavenly starry ocean and the Black Sea. After receiving the Life and Death art from Yu Bingyan, Xiao Qin started pondering it. His expression appeared somewhat depressed. Unexpectedly, the treasure that he had obtained after so much difficulty ended up like this. He was truly somewhat dissatisfied. "Xiao Qin, I can help you find the Death Fruit." Just at this moment, Ao Jiao, who was in the Immortal Spirit Ring, seemed to have made up her mind. "You have the Death Fruit? It is not me who has it. Back then, the Thunder King killed a ghost race great emperor. There was a Death Fruit among the spoils of war. When you cultivate to peak great perfection, the blue-robed emperor, I will bring you to the place where the Thunder King's inheritance is." Xiao Qin rejoiced in his heart. He had found the Death Fruit that Yu Bingyan said was extinct. In that case, all he had to do was go to the Human Demon Sea and obtain the Flower of Life. Then he could still cultivate the Life and Death art. There is still hope. Don't be too happy yet. The Human Demon Sea is not as simple as you think. It is hard to say whether you can obtain the Flower of Life or not. Ao Jiao said somewhat worriedly. "What's wrong? You've been to the Human Demon Sea before?" "What nonsense! The Thunder King's inheritance is in the Human Demon Sea. How could I not have been there before?" Xiao Qin's heart wavered slightly. Ao Jiao had always been unwilling to go and obtain the Thunder King's inheritance. Aside from some special reason, could it be that the Thunder King's inheritance was in the Human Demon Sea? Seeing that Ao Jiao was unwilling to say more, Xiao Qin did not pursue the matter. In the remaining few days, Xiao Qin studied the Life and Death art. Under the pressure of the gravity, his movement technique improved again. He felt that he could already leap out of the deep abyss, so he planned to bring Yu Bingyan away. "Let's go." Xiao Qin woke up Yu Bingyan, who was still cultivating, and explained his intentions. A look of reluctance flashed in Yu Bingyan's eyes. At the same time, she said apologetically, It seems like I still need some time to adapt before I can go out. There is no need to go through so much trouble. I'll bring you out directly." Before Yu Bingyan understood what Xiao Chun meant, Xiao Chun hugged her tightly. Then, they broke through the restrictions of the hundredfold gravity and soared into the air, heading for the top of the deep abyss. Suddenly, Yu Bingyan cried out softly in Xiao Chen's embrace. In her fluster, she instinctively wanted to struggle free. Xiao Chen did not say anything. He only hugged her tightly, not letting her struggle free. Xiao Chun had to adapt to his physical body for 1.5 months. After cultivating bitterly, he finally had the confidence to go up after much difficulty. If he waited for Yu Bingyan to go up on her own, she would have to spend at least 1 month. Clearly, this was unacceptable to Xiao Chun. "Don't move. We're going up soon." After the initial struggle, Yu Bingyan blushed slightly. She felt that her emotions were somewhat strange, so she tried to hide it and smiled. "Fortunately, you did not carry me up this time." This was a mockery of how Xiao Chun carried Yu Bingyan away without saying anything in the Treasure Master's residence. Xiao Chun smiled abashedly. Yu Bingyan was not the aloof, holy daughter. She was not one of those overly traditional and aloof girls. This gave Xiao Chun a favorable impression of her. Jin Liangqi's group of 4, who were still sitting cross-legged above the deep abyss, heard the sonic boom. They all opened their eyes and quickly stood up, prepared to attack. The few of them had endured for a long time and had been prepared for a long time. At this moment, they heard the wind. When they heard the sound of the wind, all of them showed solemn expressions, surging with killing qi. The aura of a consummation blue-robed emperor suddenly spread out. A strong wind howled, and the 4 strong auras merged together to form a formless mountain range, rising and falling indeterminately as it pressed down on the deep abyss. All they had to do was wait for the instant Xiao Chun came out and suppress him with all their might, instantly killing him. All sorts of profound martial techniques quickly brewed in their bodies. Jin Liangqi stared at the pitch-black deep abyss and said coldly, "After waiting for 1.5 months, you are finally here." Murderous intent flashed in the eyes of the other 3 old men, cold and emotionless. Aside from this, there was also some excitement, a fiery anticipation for the life and death art. In their opinion, working together to deal with 2 great perfection blue-robed emperors would be a piece of cake. There would not be any pressure. One consummation blue-robed emperor could easily suppress 4 or 5 great perfection blue-robed emperors. For consummation blue-robed emperors working together, if they could not take down 2 great perfection blue-robed emperors, it would be a joke. The wind howled, and the sound of the sonic boom grew increasingly piercing and sharper, making everyone tremble slightly. The 4's hearts pounded intensely as they stared at the deep abyss's entrance, not daring to relax for even a moment. The formless mountain range in the sky above the deep abyss layered over each other, inspiring a terrifying pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4. As the sound grew closer, the 4 started counting in their hearts. In less than 10 breaths of time, that white-robed bladesman would leave this world forever. 9. When the 4 counted to 9, a fiery light appeared at the pitch-black entrance. A white figure seemed to be breaking through the final barrier of the deep abyss. Because the white figure moved too fast, the friction caused purple flames to burn. Jin Liangqi's eyes lit up, and he immediately roared, "Kill him!" Jin Liangqi's voice contained a boundless aura and overwhelming killing intent. The formless mountain range bore the brunt of the attack, pressing down on Xiao Chun, who was about to charge out. In the blink of an eye, the entire space began to shake violently. It was a shocking sight to behold. However, as the 4 expected, the scene of Xiao Chun clashing with the mountain range did not happen. The layers of formless mountains fell into the abyss as if they had missed their target. The 4 of them were shocked, unable to react in time. This was all part of their plan. The moment Xiao Chen came out, they would first use the vast aura to ruthlessly crush Xiao Chen's sharpness. Then, they would follow up with all sorts of killing moves to crush Xiao Chun. However, right now, The mountain range that was certain to hit actually failed to injure Xiao Chun, falling directly into the deep abyss. In that case, there was only one possibility. The white-robed bladesman was too fast. The instant the white-robed bladesman broke through the deep abyss's barrier, his speed multiplied, and he charged over the instant he fell. These four were all consummation blue-robed emperors who had experienced hundreds and thousands of battles. Their thoughts were as quick as lightning. After thinking quickly, they immediately came to such a conclusion. Retreat. The four's expressions changed at the same time, and they pushed off the ground and quickly retreated. You think you can retreat? A cold snort rang out in the air. Then, the white figure carrying a delicate girl charged over. Thunder dragon steps, electric light shaking the heavens, body like a dragon. Amid the electric light, the horrifying aura of Xiao Chen's 60% comprehended saber soul burst out ferociously. Xiao Chun carried Yu Bingyun with his left hand and held his saber with the other. He looked like a powerful killing god as he stepped on boundless electric light, moving as fast as a meteor. Xiao Chen's figure turned illusory. As electric light shot out, he swung his saber with each step. After 12 steps, he swung his saber 12 times. With the will of thunder infused with the 60% comprehended saber soul and the great perfection thunder dragon steps, Xiao Chun was unstoppable. Every time he swung his saber, he would knock back a consummation blue-robed emperor. Xiao Chen's speed was so fast that it felt like he swung his saber 12 times at the same time. Jin Lianqi and the other three each suffered 3 saber strikes. Blood flowed out of their wounds as electric light flashed. Their numbed bodies were in extreme pain. The 4 looked severely injured, but in reality, they were not fatally injured. Xiao Chen's 12 saber strikes focused on speed. They were not as mighty as martial techniques. Xiao Chen did not want to kill these 4 in one go. Instead, he wanted to disrupt the other party's formation and dampen their momentum. The true killing move was yet to come. After Jin Lianqi and the other 3 landed, they roared ferociously and immediately prepared to counterattack. However, Xiao Chun did not give these 4 a chance to make a comeback. If he left any openings, his 1.5 months of bitter cultivation would have been wasted. Chapter 1168. One saber of only me, instant eternal. 1,000 mysterious phenomena, 10,000 lights, this moment of glory, the mountains and rivers like a painting. In the next breath, Xiao Chun executed his strongest profound martial technique, instant of glory. Immediately, the mysterious phenomena of all sorts of martial techniques burst out with this saber strike. Peach blossoms drifted for 50 kilometers around. Flowers hung high in the sky on a summer day. Leaves fell in the autumn wind. A fiery bright moon soared into the sky, and many blue dragons flew everywhere. Wagging their tails, all sorts of mysterious phenomena appeared in an instant, forming a glorious painting that froze the space. Jin Lianqi and the other 3 in the painting seemed to be locked in place, unable to move or even blink. Kassier. Xiao Chun sheathed his saber, and the glorious painting immediately shattered like glass. Kassier. Kassier. Jin Lianqi and the other 3 fell to the ground and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Horror filled their eyes. In that instant, they suffered 3 heavy blows. The painting froze, and the various mysterious phenomena baptized them. This was not the most fatal blow. Given their cultivation as consummation blue-robed emperors, this kind of damage was not enough to deal any serious damage. The most horrifying thing was the second blow. When the painting shattered, it felt like space had shattered. Although this was far from true space shattering, the principle was roughly the same. The moment the painting shattered, they felt like their bodies were about to be torn into all sorts of shreds. Although his tough physical body was still intact, his internal organs had been torn apart, leaving horrifying cracks. The third layer was the damage caused by the backlash of their own martial skills being interrupted. With these 3 severe injuries, they had completely lost their combat prowess. Even if a martial monarch came, they would just be meat on the chopping block. You're on your own. Xiao Chun said indifferently as he looked coldly at the four on the ground like stray dogs. Then, he let go of Yu Bingyan. Then, he soared into the air, preparing to leave this place. Soon, Bing Xuejian and Fei Lingyi would receive the news. He needed to leave Blackwater Island quickly. Yu Bingyun, who followed closely behind, felt dazed, like she was in a dream. There had never been a bladesman that Xiao Chun admired from the bottom of her heart. His tyrannical and magnificent saber techniques, his straightforward style, his cold as ice, but he did not become addicted to killing. His heart had never changed. Jin Liangqi and the others remained silent for a long time. As they watched Xiao Chun and Yu Bingyun leave, their emotions became extremely complicated. This youth will definitely leave his name in history, becoming a giant bladesman of his generation. How terrifying. He actually didn't kill us. He probably didn't even look at us and didn't see us old fellows as a threat. Jin Liangqi laughed self-mockingly. He also felt that the experience just now was like a dream. However, it was a nightmare. If he had the chance, he definitely wouldn't want to experience it again. The Bloodsword Sovereign's residence was already a complete mess. It had completely collapsed. Fortunately, the various restrictions were no longer there. Xiao Chun used brute force to open up a hole and break out of the ground. After taking a deep breath of the fresh air that he had not breathed in for a long time, Xiao Chun waved his hand and summoned out his Flood Dragon War Chariot. Yu Bingyun exclaimed in shock, "Flood Dragon War Chariot? Isn't this the war chariot of the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palaces, Lung Xiao Fan?" Xiao Chun smiled and said, "Get on then. It is surnamed Xiao now." Yu Bingyun smiled. Clearly, she had asked a pointless question. For some reason, this Flood Dragon War Chariot ended up in Xiao Chun's hands. The four Flood Dragons did their best to pull the war chariot. Soon, they tore through the dark clouds in the sky, heading forward quickly. Everything was dark under the dark clouds, not seeing sunlight all year round. However, the dark clouds shone with golden light. The sea of clouds glowed like an immortal realm. "Where are you going?" "I'll make a trip to Dark City first before heading to the Human Demon Sea," Xiao Chun said. Xiao Chun wanted to meet Batu in Dark City, to see if he could find that corpse and perfect his dragon-seeking art further. After that, he wanted to rush to the Human Demon Sea, to the place that Ao Jiao said hid the Thunder King's treasures. Then, he would take the opportunity to find the Flower of Life. When Yu Bingyan heard about Xiao Chun's itinerary, she started laughing softly. This baffled Xiao Chun, so he asked, "What are you laughing at? It looks like we will have to travel together for a while. Your itinerary is the same as mine. My final stop on this trip is also the Human Demon Sea." Yu Bingyun's expression made it impossible to tell if she was lying or if she said this on purpose to travel together with Xiao Chun. "Don't find it strange. My main purpose on this trip is experiential training. I told you at the start and did not lie to you. The matter of the Jadeite Mountain Manor was just something I did in passing. Even if I did not make a move, I would have dealt with that matter perfectly." Feeling suspicious, Xiao Chun asked, "What do you mean? Could it be that there is more to Fei Lingyi's attempt to advance the heavenly cloud sword into a transcendent divine weapon?" "I will not tell you more about the inside story. It is not something important. Right now, I just want to sleep comfortably. You don't mind driving the carriage alone, right?" Yu Bingyun smiled gently. Without giving Xiao Chun a chance to reply, she entered the war chariot and pulled the curtains up. Then, she headed for the comfortable bed and lay down alone. Xiao Chun smiled bitterly, unable to say anything. He could not possibly go in and disturb her when she was sleeping. Bathed in the golden sunlight, the Flood Dragon War Chariot sped through the cloud sea at lightning speed. At this moment, on Blackwater Island, Fei Lingyi and Bing Xuejian, who had received the news, rushed over. However, they only saw Jin Liangqi and the other three recovering from their injuries. They immediately trembled in anger. They wished that they could rush over to Xiao Chun and tear him to shreds. The storm of the life and death art came to an end. However, the story of the white-robed bladesman on Blackwater Island spread for a long time. He snatched the life and death art from the jaws of two half-step Emperor Wu, snatching the life and death art. However, The one who did all this was only a great perfection blue-robed emperor. Later, when Xiao Qian's identity spread, everyone was even more shocked. Unexpectedly, such a bladesman was actually a descendant of the famous Qing emperor, the Blue Dragon King appointed by the Bushan Palace. After leaving Blackwater Island, Xiao Qian put away the Flood Dragon war chariot and walked on the vast sea. He started to use the dragon-seeking art to search for holy spirit veins in the Black Sea, which was the most resource-rich. Xiao Qian's luck was pretty good, or rather, the Black Sea was rather rich in resources. In the process of rushing to the Black Sea, Xiao Qian discovered several hidden holy spirit veins. However, Jiang Tian's words rang in his ears. Xiao Qian could not casually touch the things underground. If he did not do it well, he might attract a ferocious evil dragon and bury himself at the bottom of the sea. Hence, Xiao Qian was extremely careful when he made his move. He only made his move after he was 100% sure that it was an auspicious land. He gave up on most of the discoveries and only took 4 holy spirit veins. Even so, Xiao Qian's actions flabbergasted Yu Bingyun, who was traveling with him. The Lunar Palace had also hired extremely skilled geomasters, so Yu Bingyun had some understanding of this trade. Xiao Qian's dragon-seeking arts surpassed that of the geomasters hired by the Lunar Palace. In fact, some of his methods for subduing dragons were even more profound. The dragon-fixing needle and the dragon-revealing mirror allowed him to subdue holy spirit veins alone. Just this point alone surpassed those geomasters. In the future, when I manage the Lunar Palace, I will definitely get you to help me search for spirit veins, Yu Bingyun said seriously. Yu Bingyun asked seriously after Xiao Qian stepped into the Black Sea and stopped searching for spirit veins. Xiao Qian smiled and said, "Sure. However, the prerequisite is that I can live to that day. Of course, the price for me to make a move will be expensive." Yu Bingyun joked, "The bona fide holy daughter is asking you to search for dragons and fix veins, yet she's putting on such airs. You should be saying that I am extremely willing. As long as the holy daughter says it, anything is negotiable. Right? I'm extremely willing. As long as the holy daughter says it, anything is negotiable." Parrot words, there is no sincerity at all. However, I will remember what you said. I will definitely look for you in the future. During this period of interaction, the two had gotten much closer. Yu Bingyun had helped Xiao Qian a lot in subduing dragons. There was also the comprehension of the life and death art. Yu Bingyun was not stingy in sharing her understanding with Xiao Qian, helping him quickly understand this profound secret manual. As the two chatted and laughed, they did not slow down at all, rushing towards Black City. As the two went deeper into the Black Sea, they could clearly feel how extraordinary this place was. Consummation, blue-robed Emperor Xiao Qian saw 1 or 2 half-step Emperor Wu Xiao Qian. Even strong existences on the level of Emperor Wu Xiao Qian occasionally flashed by, coming and going in a hurry. As the core of the entire Black Sea, the Black Sea's atmosphere of experts was clearly much stronger than Blackwater cities. The two's destination, Dark City, was the core of the core. Many strong blue-robed emperors gathered there. Most of the outstanding Yus of the Black Sea were in this city. Half a day later, the two arrived at Dark Island, which was several times vaster than Dark City. As they stood at the edge of the island, they could see the majestic and tyrannical silhouette of Dark City. According to Yu Bingyun, this was an ancient holy city that could rival Bright Moon City. Xiao Qian was filled with anticipation, hoping that it would bring him some unexpected surprises. Quickening their pace, Xiao Qian and Yu Bingyun rushed towards the city. The city walls were like a black dragon coiled on the ground. The black bricks looked like dragon scales, giving off a metallic feel and a strong might. When the two arrived at the city gates, they lined up obediently, waiting to enter the city. Among the cultivators in line, Xiao Qian discovered several consummation blue-robed emperors. There was even a half-step Emperor Wu Xiao Qian. This was somewhat flabbergasting. Before the might of Dark City, even a half-step Emperor Wu did not dare to fly in. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, just at this moment, above the heads of the crowd, there were two strong figures flying fearlessly into the city, attracting the attention of the crowd. Where did these youths come from? How come they even dare to barge into Dark City? Someone exclaimed in shock when he discovered that the city guards did not make a move on these people, tacitly acknowledging their actions. Huh, this must be your first time coming to Dark City, right? These are the famous outstanding talents of Dark City. They are either the descendants of great bandits or absolute outstanding talents, incredibly strong. They have the outstanding talent token issued by the City Lord's residents, allowing them to enter and leave the city at will. Chapter 1169. However, Xiao Chun, who was in the queue, appeared somewhat distracted. It was like he could not hear anything. The instant the figure in front flashed by, Xiao Chun had clearly seen the appearance of that person. This brought back a distant memory. After so many years, he had not expected to see this old friend in Dark City. What's wrong? Yu Bingyun, who was at the side, could not help asking when she saw Xiao Chun in a rare daze. She looked at the two figures in the sky, who had already left, not understanding what was going on. Xiao Chun withdrew his gaze and said indifferently, "It's nothing. I just saw an old friend from the Sky Dome realm." Those two earlier were Zhao Feng and Sima Lingxian. Zhao Feng's grandfather, Zhao Linglong, was a veteran sovereign martial emperor, ranked second among the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea. Sima Lingxian has a significant background as well. His adoptive father, Zong Buoxiong, became a sovereign martial emperor after coming out of the road that buried emperors and successfully killed his way into the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea. Yu Bingyan knew more about the Black Sea than Xiao Chun did. She recognized the two people who just passed by. When Xiao Chun heard Zong Buoxiong's name, he felt excited. Wasn't this Zong Buoxiong the middle-aged, greater, heavenly martial emperor who gave him a message in Despair City? Back then, Xiao Chun had found it strange that Zong Buoxiong would send him a voice projection for no reason at all. Now that Yu Bingyun said that Zong Buoxiong's adoptive son was Sima Lingxian, Xiao Chun somewhat understood what was going on. If Xiao Chun guessed right, this Zong Buoxiong should know about the grudge between Xiao Chun and Sima Lingxian. Zong Buoxiong probably sent Xiao Chun a voice projection because he did not want Xiao Chun to die at the hands of others, giving his adoptive son a chance to take revenge personally. The past truly made one sigh with emotion. Every time one thought of the passionate era of the Sky Dome realm, one's blood would race. Xiao Chun still remembered how many outstanding talents of the Sky Dome realm fought in Dragon Sealing City, fighting for the right to enter the Kunlun realm. However, most of the outstanding talents that truly entered the Kunlun realm were buried in this great realm filled with geniuses. Their names were unknown, and they were nowhere to be seen. However, seeing Sima Lingxian this time far surpassed Xiao Chun's expectations. In that instant, Xiao Chun sensed that Sima Lingxuan's cultivation had actually reached the peak of the great perfection blue-robed emperor. Furthermore, Xiao Chun had taken a sovereign martial emperor as his adoptive father. Everything was like a new game of Go. There were always some unexpected things. Fortunately, as long as the blue-robed emperor had sufficient resources and great talent, he would be able to reach the peak of mastery within a short period of time. If he had become a great perfection blue-robed emperor, only then would Xiao Chun be truly vigilant. Now, he only needed to pay a little more attention. Among the younger generation of the Black Sea, where can this Sima Lingxian rank? Xiao Chun asked curiously. This name, which he had long forgotten, once again attracted his attention. Yu Bingyan thought for a while before saying, "How should I put it?" He rose up very quickly. In just 5 or 6 years, with Zong Buoxiong's full support, he defeated many outstanding talents of the Black Sea. Now, he is in the limelight and is known as the strongest of the Black Sea's younger generation. However, this first rank is a little vague. This is because the strongest of the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, the Bloodshark Sovereign's descendant, Huang Yun, has not appeared in the past few years. Furthermore, Huang Yun was already publicly acknowledged as the strongest 10 years ago. Without defeating Huang Yun, Sima Lingxian would not be able to truly become the strongest. There is also Zhao Feng. 2 years ago, Sima Lingxian only lost to Zhao Feng by half a move. In a true life-and-death battle, Zhao Feng only had a 50-50 chance of winning. However, no matter what, there is no exaggeration in calling Sima Lingxian one of the strongest, outstanding talents of the Black Sea's younger generation. After saying that, Yu Bingyun glanced at Xiao Chan and said, "Could he be the old friend you mentioned? Is he a friend or foe? If he is an enemy, it is best not to meet him to avoid trouble." Friend or foe? Sima Lingxuan's father died at Xiao Chen's hands. There was no way to resolve the grudge of killing his father. However, Xiao Chen did not regret killing Sima Hong at all. Some people deserved to be killed to pay the price for what they had done in the past. As for meeting the other party, Xiao Chen did not fear it at all. He could defeat the other party in the Sky Dome realm. He could do the same here. Why aren't you saying anything? What exactly is your relationship with this Sima Lingxian? You still have not told me? Yu Bingyun was curious about the relationship between the two, which was rare for Xiao Chen to be absent-minded, so she pursued the matter. After Xiao Chen entered Dark City, Yu Bingyun continued to press him. Xiao Chen smiled helplessly and said, "He has a grudge with me for killing his father. Back then, his father relied on his cultivation to sweep through a small sect of mine in the Sky Dome realm. For the sake of protecting me, many of my sect's disciples and elders died at his father's hands. Later on, after my strength increased, I met his father in the Sky Dome realm and killed him." Xiao Chen skipped the details and gave a simple explanation of the grudge between him and Sima Lingxian. When Yu Bingyun heard this, she could not help but be stunned. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen had such a grudge with this Sima Lingxian. No wonder she was distracted when she saw him. Batu's home was very easy to find. Dark City was divided into 13 districts. Each district was governed by a great bandit. In every district, the most iconic building was the place where the bandits lived. The 13 great bandits of the Black Sea represented the strongest combat prowess of the entire Black Sea, the greatest authority, and the most majestic might. They were the uncrowned masters of the Black Sea, the true kings of the underworld. It was very simple to become a great bandit of the Black Sea. One just had to come to Dark City and defeat a great bandit of the Black Sea, chasing him out of the iconic building. Then, one would be the new great bandit of the Black Sea. It was simple and crude, fully displaying the law of the jungle of the Black Sea. While it sounded simple, every great bandit of the Black Sea was at least as strong as Greater Heavenly Emperor Wu. Furthermore, without the strength of a sovereign martial emperor, one would not be confident of defeating any great bandit easily. In the past 1,000 years, aside from Zhong Buoxiong, no one else had succeeded. Batu's grandfather was known as the Flame Rock Sovereign. He was ranked 5th among the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, a veteran sovereign martial emperor. It was because Batu asked the Flame Rock Sovereign to speak up for Kim Taeho's Green Dragon Chamber of Commerce. Hence, no one dared to offend him in the Black Sea. As long as the banner of the Green Dragon Chamber of Commerce was hung up, no one would pay attention to the merchant ships of the Black Sea, where pirates roamed. After asking around, the two found out where the Flame Rock Sovereign lived. A castle made of 10,000-year-old flame rocks was in the south of the city. This was where the Flame Rock Sovereign lived. When the two arrived before the fiery red castle and saw that it was made of 10,000-year-old flame rocks, they felt incredibly shocked. Just a small piece of 10,000-year-old flame rock was worth cities. However, the Flame Rock Sovereign used it to build a vast castle. The castle looked like it was eternally engulfed in flames, burning endlessly. When standing in front of the gates, one could feel the Flame Rock Sovereign's unbridled tyranny. The surroundings were heavily guarded. Xiao Chen stood in front of the gates and reported his identity, asking the guards to help pass a message to Tuesday. Xiao Chen and Yu Bingyun both looked extraordinary. Their strength was even more startling. The guards did not dare to be slow, quickly reporting the news. Soon, Batu's carefree laughter came from the gates. He walked over with large strides. When he saw Xiao Chen, he immediately gave Xiao Chen a bear hug. "Brat, you only came now? I have already waited for you for more than a year. Come in first." Hey, this is Xiao Chun, who only cared about talking to Xiao Chun, did not react immediately when he saw Yu Bingyan. After a while, he exclaimed in extreme shock, "Damn, Brother Xiao Chun, you really managed to get the Lunar Palace's holy daughter." Batu's words in front of so many people immediately froze Yu Bingyun's pretty face. This misunderstanding was too big. The misunderstanding was too big. Xiao Chun quickly said, "I think Brother Batu is overreacting." Batu smiled abashedly and quickly apologized. Yu Bingyun ignored him. However, her expression slowly turned warmer, showing no intention of settling scores with him. Come. Since Brother Xiao Chun is here, let's have some fun in Dark City. I'll bring you to the City Lord's residence to apply for an outstanding talent token first. With this outstanding talent token, you can enjoy the privileges that only the older generation Emperor Wu can enjoy. That will be truly satisfying. The City Lord's residence of Dark City was only a faction on the surface. The people there were appointed by the factions represented by the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea. Given Batu's status, it would be easy for him to apply for an outstanding talent token. When Xiao Chun was in line outside the city gates, he had heard some things about the outstanding talent token. For example, Zhao Feng and Sima Lingxian could fly through the city gates because they had the outstanding talent token. However, Xiao Chen's main reason for coming here was the corpse that Batu's group found on the road that buried emperors. The jade strip on that corpse contained the Paradise secret cannon. It was hard to guarantee that there were no other hidden treasures. Xiao Chen was hoping to get lucky. He wanted to go take a look and see if there were any gains. Wait for a while. This time, I actually have a request to make of Brother Batu, Xiao Chun said seriously, rejecting Batu's words. Batu slowly withdrew the smile on his face. He asked gravely, "What is it? If I can help, I will definitely do so without hesitation." "Is the corpse that you found on the road that buried emperors still there? What did you find on that corpse? Can you tell me a thing or two?" When Batu heard this, he could not help smiling. There was nothing on that corpse except for the spatial ring on its finger. It was also a pile of trash. "We suffered a great loss. Could it be that the jade strip we gave you is extraordinary?" Since Xiao Chun had already decided to come here, he did not intend to hide anything. He nodded and said, "Bring me to see that pile of trash first." Batu laughed loudly, and a look of anticipation appeared in his eyes. Then he waved his hand and said, "Bring Miss Bingyan around the castle. Remember to treat her well." Batu looked like a boorish fellow. However, he was very meticulous. He knew that it was not convenient for others to hear about this, so he sent Yu Bingyan away without anyone noticing. Yu Bingyan smiled faintly. She did not care much about her interactions with Xiao Chun over the past few days. Yu Bingyan already knew that Xiao Chun had obtained the inheritance of an ancient dragon seeking secret art. However, Xiao Chun had also told her the truth. This dragon seeking secret art was very difficult for people with ordinary comprehension ability to learn. Chapter 1170. The threshold for comprehension ability was too high. Even if an ordinary geomaster obtained it, it would not be of much use. At most, it would broaden their horizons. Xiao Chun followed Batu to his private treasure pavilion in the castle. In one of the old rooms, he saw the trash that Batu spoke of. There were broken bells, large lumps of metal, rotten knives, and all sorts of metal balls. There were many of them. At first glance, they were indeed trash. However, in Xiao Chen's eyes, they were all dusty treasures, making him somewhat happy. How was this trash? This was a complete dragon subduing platform. However, it had been destroyed and scattered. After repairing and refining some of the parts, he reassembled them. This was a ready-made dragon subduing platform. The bell was the dragon summoning bell. With just a gentle shake, it could automatically summon back the spirit vein that escaped. When dealing with some evil dragons, there was no way to get them to obediently go to the dragon subduing platform. Hence, the dragon summoning bell became a necessity. The rotten knives were the essence of the dragon subduing platform, the dragon head guillotine. There was also the lump of metal. This was the ready-made foundation of the dragon subduing platform. If Xiao Chun had to pool his own money to build it, he would need at least 10 years to prepare. However, these things were worthless in the eyes of a cultivator. They were completely useless. Even a regular geomaster would not recognize these things. Even if they recognized them, they would not know how to use them. They had to be used in conjunction with the Paradise Secret Canon. That's all. It is infuriating to talk about it. A group of brothers, and I risked our lives to bring back a corpse. Unexpectedly, the ring is filled with a pile of trash. Batu appeared rather depressed when he mentioned this matter. Xiao Chen reluctantly put down the dragon summoning bell. Then, he said, "These are not trash. They are all treasures." Seeing that there were no outsiders present, Xiao Chen told Batu about the Paradise Secret Canon and the true value of this pile of trash. "I can leave a copy of the Paradise Secret Canon for Brother Batu's day. As for these dragon-subduing platform parts, I hope that Brother Batu will do me a favor. Name a price, and I'll buy them." After Batu heard that, his expression changed. He said, "You are looking down on this brother. Without you making a move, I, Batu, and my friends would have died in the heavenly starry ocean long ago. Furthermore, at that time, Brother Xiao Chun could have made a move to silence us and snatch this corpse away. Don't say anything. You can just take these things as trash." Batu's straightforwardness made Xiao Chun feel somewhat embarrassed. Not only did Batu not want the Paradise Secret Canon's copy, but he even gave all the parts of the dragon's subduing platform to Xiao Chun. After the dragon's subduing platform was completed, Xiao Chun would no longer need to be afraid of those evil dragons while seeking the dragon acupoints. This dragon subduing platform was extremely important to him. In fact, when he reached the level of Emperor Wu and searched for a royal spirit vein, this dragon subduing platform would be of great help to him. I won't say too many words of gratitude. In the future, if the Flame Rock Sovereign or Brother Ba to need any help, I will definitely be there at your beck and call, Xiao Chun said extremely seriously as he accepted the parts of the dragon's subduing platform. Batu laughed loudly and said, well said, well said. However, there's indeed a problem that is troubling this brother." "What problem?" Xiao Chen asked, feeling suspicious as he frowned slightly. "Speaking of which, what exactly is your relationship with the Holy Daughter? Don't be in a rush to deny it. If it were someone else, they would definitely fall out with her on the spot." Furthermore, Xiao Chen felt somewhat speechless. He thought that Batu would ask something serious, so he quickly interrupted, "Don't mention this." Batu raised his eyebrows and chuckled. "All right, I won't mention it. I understand. The more he tried to explain, the more he made things worse. Xiao Chun smiled helplessly and said, "Never mind. Let's not talk about this anymore. Bring me to get the outstanding talent token. Then, I plan to stay in Dark City for a while and complete the dragon subduing platform before leaving." The disassembled dragon subduing platform had existed for too long. Many things needed to be repaired, which was a rather large project. Furthermore, Xiao Chun needed to purchase many divine materials. With the outstanding talent token, he would be able to obtain a considerable discount when purchasing in Dark City. Furthermore, some divine materials could not be purchased through ordinary channels. With the outstanding talent token, it would be easier to access those special channels. Batu patted Xiao Chen's shoulder and smiled. "That's easy. Come, I'll bring you to the city lord's residence now." As Xiao Chen strolled around the castle, he could sense the auras of several experts, both in the open and in the dark. There was even a gaze that seemed to belong to a powerhouse on the level of Emperor Wu, watching him from the dark. However, it seemed like that gaze did not have any malicious intent because of Batu's day. Furthermore, it did not pry too much into Xiao Chun. When Xiao Chun arrived at the city lord's residence in the center of Dark City, he relied on Batu's signboard to pass through all sorts of tight security and strong checkpoints. This allowed Xiao Chun to personally experience the strength of being a great pirate of the Black Sea. Along the way, he saw several half-step Emperor Wu experts at the checkpoints, undergoing strict questioning and inspections. When Batu and Xiao Chun arrived at the Zone Affairs office where the outstanding talent token was processed, they were about to enter. Suddenly, a voice called out to Batu from behind. When Batu heard that, he turned his head back, and his expression changed involuntarily. Damn, this fellow actually came to the Zone Affairs office as well. Xiao Qian's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that there would be some problems with the outstanding talent token? Huh. Brother Batu, are you bringing someone to get the outstanding talent token? Behind the Zone Affairs office, a white-robed young man with a jade-like complexion and a sinister aura walked over unhurriedly with a person behind him. Xiao Chun sized up this person. This person's cultivation was unfathomable. Unexpectedly, he was also a peak great perfection blue-robed emperor. Boundless sword intent flashed in this person's eyes. His gaze was so sharp that it could tear through the air. Another peak great perfection quasi-emperor outstanding young talent. Xiao Chun felt shocked in his heart. However, when he thought about it, the Black Sea lacked everything but resources, so he felt somewhat at ease. The 13 great bandits of the Black Sea controlled the greatest benefits of the Black Sea. In terms of resources, they were probably even stronger than some of the Holy Lands. After all, their headquarters were in the Black Sea. The cultivation of the small perfection blue-robed emperor and the great perfection blue-robed emperor happened to rely on the accumulation of resources. Of course, if one's talent was insufficient, no matter how many resources one had, it would be pointless. Being able to use vast resources to raise one's cultivation to peak great perfection blue-robed emperor within a short time was already an incredible feat. This person is called Lu Yun, a descendant of the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, Ku Yejian. Ku Yejian ranks 6th among the great bandits and is a sovereign martial emperor who uses the sword. This person once suffered greatly at my big brother's hands. Xiao Chun knew that Batu's big brother was the most talented, outstanding talent of the Flame Rock Sovereign's bloodline. He was also the Flame Rock Sovereign's legitimate successor, someone who would inherit the title of Flame Rock Sovereign in the future. However, Batu had always been busy with cultivation, rarely appearing when he was in closed-door cultivation. Compared to Batu, he was much more low-profile. That Lu Yun sized up Xiao Chun and said indifferently, "Not bad. With the cultivation of a great perfection blue-robed emperor, you meet the threshold. However, it is hard to say whether you can get an outstanding talent token or not. However, based on Brother Batu's appearance, it seems like you want to go through the back door." This person had an arrogant expression. After saying that, he left with his head held high. Remember to tell your big brother to come out of closed-door cultivation early. The next Outstanding Talent Summit meeting is about to begin. At that time, I will personally defeat him. The person beside Lu Yun turned his head and glanced at Xiao Chun. A faint murderous intent flashed in his eyes, and a fierce electric fire burned in the depths of his eyes. Xiao Chun frowned slightly. Why does this fellow make it seem like he has a grudge against me? If I recall correctly, I have a grudge against him. If I recall correctly, this is the first time Xiao Chun met Lu Yun and Lu Yun. Lu Yun, you sissy, who said that your uncle is going through the back door. It is just an outstanding talent token. My brother can easily obtain it. What surprised Xiao Chun was that Batu's explosive temper could not endure Lu Yun's aloof temper. Once provoked, Batu would immediately erupt. Lu Yun turned around and did not get angry. He smiled faintly and said, "If you did not go through the back door, you would not have been able to obtain an outstanding talent token. Don't boast and harm your brother. Furthermore, if not for giving face to your big brother, I would have slapped you for what you said earlier." The competition between the descendants of the great bandits was actually so intense. This surprised Xiao Chun, who was at the side, slightly. He felt like he had gotten involved in some grudges. The more Batu spoke, the angrier he became. He cursed, "Damn, do you dare to bet with me? This brother of mine will definitely obtain an outstanding talent token. Furthermore, his results will be even higher than this person you brought." Lu Yun said coldly, "You are really reckless. Do you know who this person beside me is? He is Xia Yang, the descendant of the legendary Thunderfire Sovereign. He is someone who can make it into the top 5 of this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting." So that's the case. When Xiao Chun heard that, he figured out what was going on. It turned out that this fellow was Xia Luo's elder brother. No wonder Xia Yang's face was filled with murderous intent. Xiao Chun had taught Xia Luo's younger brother and the clan elder, Wang Zhun, a lesson at Blackwater Island. Word of that had probably reached this person's ears. Xia Yang smiled faintly and said, "Brother Lu, there is no need to bother with these two clowns. There is no need to lower yourself to their level. Just smile." Lu Yin nodded and said, "That's true. If these words came from your elder brother, Ba Yin, I might be able to take them seriously. However, when they came from you, Ba Tu, I only need to smile." The two echoed each other, causing Ba Tu's complexion to turn red and white. That kind of arrogance and disdain infuriated him. Xiao Chun stepped forward and patted Ba Tu's shoulder. Then he looked straight at the two and said, "It is just an outstanding talent token. There is no need for the two of you to mock and ridicule me like that. Aren't you being too narrow-minded? You will only make others feel ashamed of you." Lu Yun's gaze turned cold. His eyes became like swords as they pierced toward Xiao Chun. A boundless sword intent burst out from his eyes. Unexpectedly, this fellow's sword soul had reached 50% comprehension, far surpassing that of his peers. Furthermore, Lu Yun's sword intent gained a feeling of spring returning to a withered tree. This made his sword intent even more exuberant, surging boundlessly. If Lu Yun looked at an ordinary person, that person would immediately fall to the ground in fright, trembling and unable to get up. However, Xiao Chun did not fear Lu Yun at all. His saber soul had already reached 60% comprehension, completely suppressing his opponent. The saber soul in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness moved slightly as he looked straight into Lu Yun's eyes. He did not even take half a step back. Chapter 1171. Saber intent spread out from Xiao Chen's body. It was like one could hear sharp, clanging sounds in the air, inspiring the urge to cover their ears. Many people came to the City Affairs Hall to handle the outstanding talent token and other matters. When they saw this scene, they could not help but look over. When they saw that someone dared to clash with Lu Yun's aura, they could not help feeling surprised. Lu Yun was very famous in this vast dark city. He was extremely strong, even able to defeat some consummation blue-robed emperors. What a fellow! To think that you really have some skill. Ba Tu, I accept your bet. Lu Yun said indifferently to Ba Tu as he withdrew his gaze. Anticipation lit up in his eyes. Ba Tu sent a voice projection back. "Xiao Chun, are you confident? I did not recognize that Xia Yang at first glance. This fellow is also very famous in Dark City. He is not inferior to the descendants of the great bandits of the Black Sea. His outstanding talent token should have reached its time limit, so he is here to reapply for it. If you're not confident, then I admit defeat. I will ask my uncle to help you apply for an outstanding talent token." Xiao Chun replied calmly, "There is no need. Just go ahead and gamble. Bet as much as you want. I will help you win it all in one go." With Xiao Chen's words, Ba Tu immediately calmed down. He smiled and said, "Lu Yun, let's make the bet bigger this time. The loser will give the winner 200 essence stones. How about that? 200 essence stones." The moment Ba Tu said that, not only did Lu Yun's expression change slightly, but even the surrounding young cultivators who were watching felt shocked. Essence stones could only be extracted from King spirit veins. They were essential for Emperor Wu's cultivation. Without advancing to Emperor Wu, there was no way to purchase essence stones through normal channels. They could only obtain them at auctions. These outstanding talents had the backing of the great bandits and lived in the resource-rich Black Sea. Hence, they could rely on their clans to obtain some essence stones every month. However, they only obtained about 20 essence stones every month. They still had to rely on holy spirit veins to cultivate. Ba Tu wanted to bet 200 essence stones in one go. It looked like he had been holding back his anger and wanted to make a big bet. Xia Yang's eyes were burning with fighting spirit. "Brother Lu, just agree with him. The guy next to him happens to have some conflicts with me. Let's break his spirit here first." Lu Yun secretly sent a voice transmission to ask if he was really confident. He only had 300 origin essence stones on him, and he had saved them up. "Don't worry. My Thunderfire art has already reached the 10th layer. It is more than enough to defeat him in the test of the outstanding talent token," Xia Yang guaranteed confidently. Lu Yun had always looked down on Ba Tu and did not want to lose in front of him. With Xia Yang's guarantee, he immediately agreed to Ba Tu's request and said loudly, "I happen to be lacking origin essence stones. If you want to give them to me, I naturally have no objection." Batu and Lu Yun are at loggerheads. This is going to be a good show. What a big bet. 200 origin essence stones. If I had 200 origin essence stones, my cultivation would increase by 20%. Stop speaking nonsense. Your clan does not have a sovereign martial emperor holding down the fort. Where are you going to get 200 origin essence stones? Even if the elders of your clan found them, they would use them for themselves. Batu and Lu Yun's huge bet immediately attracted the attention of the many youths who came to apply for the outstanding talent token. Aside from the descendants of great bandits who could use their connections to apply for the outstanding talent token, the outstanding talent token was also open to the public. As long as one cleared the checkpoints set by the City Lord's Residence's City Affairs Hall, they would obtain the outstanding talent token as well, allowing one to enjoy many benefits in Black Sea City and a death exemption medallion. With the outstanding talent token, no expert would dare to kill you. At the very least, this was a guarantee in the Black Sea. Aside from this, one could enter many of the peak places in the city unobstructed with the outstanding talent token and enjoy the most expensive treatment. Not just the local outstanding talents of the Black Sea, but several outstanding talents from other sea regions also came to Dark City to apply for the outstanding talent token. Furthermore, in the Kunlun realm, as long as one was not over 50 years old, one could be considered a youth. Hence, the City Affairs Hall was always filled with people. There were many people who came, but only a few were able to successfully apply for an outstanding talent token. The reason was simple. The checkpoints set by the City Affairs Hall were too difficult. Lu Yun and Xia Yang took the lead and entered the City Affairs Hall. Xiao Chun and Ba Tu followed closely behind. After registering according to the City Affairs Hall's rules, they were led into the testing hall. The vast and majestic testing hall was bustling with people. When Xiao Chun saw this, he found it somewhat strange. Unexpectedly, there were so many people here to apply for the outstanding talent token. A quick count gave at least 100 people, ranging in age from 20 to 50. Some were strong, some were weak, some were strong, and some were of different races. There were humans, fiend race, ghost race, and even some demon mixed blood cultivators. This was a great eye-opener. Dark City truly lived up to its reputation as a gathering city. Just the test for the outstanding talent token could attract so many outstanding talents. These people were all different. However, the pride they exuded was not as wild and unruly as they usually were. They were all very similar. After being immersed in the Black Sea for a long time, one would develop a baleful aura that was very hard to get rid of. However, this baleful aura would not affect the minds of outstanding talents. Instead, it would be used by them to strengthen their auras. Lu Yun's appearance attracted everyone's attention. This descendant of a great bandit was very famous and in the limelight. In comparison, the descendant of a great bandit like Batu attracted much less attention. After all, this dark city was a place where strength reigned supreme, a place where the strong were worshipped. If Batu's eldest brother were here, the situation would be different. Dong, dong, dong. Dense footsteps resounded. Countless people rushed in from outside the City Affairs Hall to watch the excitement. This made the young, outstanding talents participating in the Outstanding Talent Token feel strange. Although the Outstanding Talent Tokens test did not prohibit spectators, it was rare for such a bustling scene to appear under normal circumstances. There had to be something strange about this. Indeed, after asking around, the crowd learned about the bet between Batu and Lu Yun. They all showed strange expressions. Who was that white-robed bladesman? To think that he dares to compete with the Thunder Fire Sovereign's descendant. I don't know. I've never seen him before. He looks like he is only a middle-stage, great perfection, blue-robed emperor. His cultivation is weaker than Xia Yang's. This white-robed bladesman must have a great background. Otherwise, Batu would not be so bold. That might not be the case. I feel that he is just bluffing. He is just a nameless person. It is hard to say whether he can obtain the outstanding talent token or not. How can he compete with Xia Yang? That's right, he will definitely lose. The crowd discussed the matter. Some of the young outstanding talents participating in the test purposely stopped, wanting to let the two fight one-on-one. The two took up the responsibility and went to the first stage of the City Affairs Hall's test. The test of strength. Xiaoqin was no stranger to this test method. It was the same as the one he used in front of the Heavenly Cauldron Pavilion. The 100-meter-tall stone tablet was connected to an Iron Man through an exquisite formation on the ground. The difference was that this time, the Metal Man's chest, throat, forehead, and other areas were marked in red. After the old man beside the stone steel explained it to Xiaoqin, he knew that the testing stone steel here was closer to actual combat. The vital parts of the stone steel were reinforced, making it harder for one's strength to penetrate. Just like martial artists, they would definitely put up extra defenses at their vitals. If one was confident, one could attack the vital parts of the Metal Man. If one's strength could penetrate it, one could light up more gems on the stone steel. If one's strength was insufficient, then one's result would be extremely low. One would be eliminated in the first stage. Most people would not choose to attack the vital parts. They would just use the normal method to test their strength. The City Affairs Hall elder guarding the first stage said expressionlessly, "The first stage is to test your strength. If you want to obtain the Outstanding Talent token, you have to light up the 6th row of gems at the very least. Lighting up one gem is 1 point. The highest score for this stage is 10 points." Xiaoqin's expression changed involuntarily. In the previous test, at the Heavenly Cauldron Pavilion, the ones who could light up the 6th row of gems were almost all consummation blue-robed emperors. In this place, the minimum requirement to obtain the Outstanding Talent token was to light up the 6th row of gems. The threshold was extraordinarily high. No wonder Lu Yun said that even a great perfection blue-robed emperor might not be able to obtain the Outstanding Talent token. As for the subsequent scores, Xiaoqin knew that this test had a total of 3 stages. In the end, the scores would be added up to determine one's ranking among all the outstanding talents taking the test. In this first stage, I will make you fall into despair. Xia Yang was very confident in the test of strength. After the old man finished speaking, he walked over step by step. With every step Xia Yang took, a layer of purple, lightning-attributed fire burned on his body. His aura was startling. Sparks even appeared high in the sky in the vast hall. If not for the restrictions in the hall, the lightning would have burst out. Thunder Fire Art. This is a profound cultivation technique created by the legendary martial emperor, the Thunder Fire Sovereign. Its explosive power is extremely ferocious. I wonder which layer Xia Yang has cultivated it to. As long as he reaches the 7th layer, he will be able to defeat that white-robed bladesman for sure. The legendary martial emperor, the Thunder Fire Sovereign, was very famous. Although the Xia clan was no longer as powerful as it was in the past, no one dared to underestimate the might of this Thunder Fire art. Xia Yang took 10 steps. With every step he took, a layer of purple lightning-attributed fire appeared on his body. When he finished taking 10 steps, the crowd exclaimed. Amid the layers of lightning-attributed fire, Xia Yang's aura was extremely strong. He was no weaker than a regular consummation blue-robed emperor's. He might even be stronger. Unexpectedly, he cultivated the Thunder Fire art to the 10th layer. This Xia Yang really hid himself deeply. He will probably shock everyone in this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. There is no hope. Batu's 200 Essence Stones are probably gone. After charging up his strength, Xia Yang roared and punched the metal humanoid. The light on the testing steel flickered, and rows of gems lit up rapidly. Soon, all the gems on the 5th row lit up. The first purple gem on the 6th row lit up, followed by the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th gems. The 7th, the 8th, the 9th. This caused an uproar. Xia Yang's punch lit up a total of 9 gems on the 6th row. This was a startling result, surpassing most consummation blue-robed emperors. Chapter 1172. Although Xia Yang had used the 10th layer of the Thunder Fire art and stored up energy for a while, no one could deny his results. However, no one could erase his results. All of this was within the rules. The first stage was a test of strength. Lighting up 9 gems and obtaining 9 points was basically the highest score of the first stage. Xia Yang scattered the 10th layer of thunder fire on his body. His complexion turned slightly red, and he looked somewhat weak. Clearly, his cultivation of the 10th layer of the thunder fire art was not very stable. However, the joy and pride on his face did not diminish at all. He looked at Xiao Chun arrogantly and laughed loudly. In this stage, I lit up 9 gems on the 6th row. How can you compare to me? To most people, to surpass the 9th gem, one would have to erupt with the strength of a half-step Emperor Wu and light up 10 gems. However, this was clearly impossible. Xia Yang obtained 9 points. There was no way Xiao Chun could compete with him. Xia Yang would definitely win the first stage. White Robe Bladesman, will you have to defeat me? Xia Yang lit up 9 purple gems in one go, appearing very spirited. After cultivating the Thunder Fire art to the 10th layer, Xia Yang's goal was not Xiao Chun, but the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting that would take place in a month. At that time, he would shine brightly. Xia Yang treated Xiao Chun before him as an appetizer. At the same time, he would kick his younger brother and vent his anger. At the same time, he would slowly spread his fame. The corner of Lu Yun's mouth curled up slightly when he saw this scene. He said to Ba Tu in an indifferent manner, "Prepare 200 origin essence stones later." Haha, if you can't take it out, don't blame me for making a fool of you in front of everyone and doing some embarrassing things. Ba Tu's face sank slightly, rage building in his heart. However, when he saw Xia Yang obtain 9 points, he felt a deep sense of helplessness. In reality, Ba Tu did not have 200 essence stones. It was only because he trusted Xiao Chun unconditionally that he demanded an exorbitant price. Xia Yang wanted to take revenge on Lu Yun for all the time. He didn't expect that Xia Yang would score 9 points in the first round. If Xia Yang continued to perform well, his total score would probably be able to rank in the top 20 of the overall ranking. Don't be too happy so soon. This is just the first stage. There are still 3 more stages, testing movement techniques, eyesight, and actual combat. There will be plenty of opportunities to overtake them. Ba Tu argued back, but his words seemed to lack confidence. When Lu Yun heard this, he smiled in disdain and said, "Stubborn duck. Continue holding on. Let's see what else you have to say when we reach the final stage." Everyone's gazes focused on Xiao Chun. They all wanted to see what expression this white robe bladesman would have when he saw Xia Yang's despairing 90 points. But they were disappointed. The expected dismay and surprise did not appear on Xiao Chun's face. His delicate face was still calm. Taking a step forward, Xiao Chun used his hand to touch the Iron Man. The places he touched were all the vital parts of the Iron Man, such as its chest, throat, and the space between its eyebrows. Puff! Everyone felt a chill in their hearts. What is he trying to do? Could it be that he overestimated himself and wanted to challenge the Iron Man's vital parts? If one could penetrate the reinforced defenses of the Iron Man's vital parts, one would be able to obtain a very high score. However, if one was not strong enough, one would obtain a score far lower than one's own strength. The risk was very high. Practically no one could obtain a high score by challenging the Iron Man's vital parts. Most of them could not even light up the purple gems. Lu Yun smiled coldly and said, "This fellow really wants to win so much that he has gone crazy." Glancing at the stunned Ba Tu, Lu Yun added, "Indeed, he is someone you brought up. His way of thinking is different. However, he does not know that he is a big joke." Ba Tu could not help retorting, "If you can obtain a high score by relying on the vital parts, my brother will definitely be able to do it." Lu Yun smiled conceitedly and said, "Do you think that everyone is a descendant of Ku Yejian? Even if you called your big brother over, he would not be able to obtain a high score by relying on the vital parts. This is something only a peak swordsman can do. You idiot, you don't know anything." Most of the people present agreed with Lu Yun's words. Unless one was a peak swordsman who could focus their attacks on one point, it would be very difficult to break through the reinforced defenses. Although the attacks of a bladesman were tyrannical, they excelled in chopping and chopping. They could not focus their attacks on one point. In history, There had never been a bladesman who obtained a high score by relying on the vital parts. When everyone saw that Xiao Chun wanted to obtain victory by relying on the vital parts, they all shook their heads slightly. Their eyes filled with disdain. This white-robed bladesman overestimated himself. "Can I use a saber?" Xiao Chun stepped back. Now that he was confident, he asked the administrator of the sect affairs hall. That old administrator smiled and said, "Naturally. If a bladesman does not use a saber, how can he bring out his greatest strength? However, let me give you a piece of advice. In the history of Dark City, there has never been a bladesman who obtained a high score by relying on the vital parts." Xiao Qin smiled and said, "There will be one soon." When the old administrator heard that, he could not help but smile faintly. His expression did not change. The arrogance of youth was understandable. The old administrator had seen too much in his life and would no longer make a fuss about nothing. How arrogant! Let's see what kind of joke you will make. Xiaoyang could not stand Xiao Qin's indifferent attitude, so he mocked him. Whoosh! Right after Xiaoyang spoke, everyone in the hall saw an extremely dazzling saber light flash by. The saber light was too bright, forcing everyone to blink involuntarily. As the saber light flashed, there was also a gust of wind. This wind made everyone's long hair flutter gently. However, in the blink of an eye, Xiao Chun, who was holding nothing in his hands earlier, had already sheathed his saber. Then, he slowly hugged the lunar shadow saber. Did he draw his saber? This saber strike was too fast, so fast that everyone doubted it. It flashed by. They did not see it clearly at all. Naturally, Xiao Chun had drawn his saber. Although not many people saw Xiao Chun draw his saber, there were still some, such as Lu Yun, the old administrator, and Xia Yang, who stood beside Xiao Chun. When Xia Yang saw that the stone steel did not even light up, he could not help laughing loudly. "Not bad. Your posture is pretty good." Unfortunately, not a single gem lit up. White Robe Bladesman, you will probably become the biggest joke of the year in Dark City. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Earlier, Xiao Qin's saber strike was incredibly fast, startling them all. When they heard Xia Yang's words, they realized that it was just a joke. Not a single gem lit up. Although this was somewhat surprising, it was rather normal. Many cultivators who wanted to score points by attacking the vital points had encountered such a situation before. However, Xiao Chun made it seem so mysterious, giving off the air of an expert. In the end, he still ended up with such a result. This was truly a joke. Something's not right. Lu Yun, who originally had a smile on his face, suddenly frowned. He discovered that something was wrong. The old administrator behind the stone steel also showed a grave expression, appearing extremely flabbergasted. There was a crisp sound, and a crack appeared on the metal puppet's neck. A resplendent saber light shot out from that crack, looking as dazzling as the sun. Before everyone's incredulous gaze, the metal puppet's head separated from its neck with a cassier. The instant the metal puppet's head flew off, a boundless saber wind surged out from its neck. A strong saber intent hummed along with the wind, reverberating in every corner of the vast hall. The strong and horrifying saber intent made everyone shudder in fear. The wind kept blowing for a long time, causing the noisy hall to slowly quiet down. Only the humming of the wind could be heard. Such a scene attracted several elders and administrators of the sect affairs office to come out from their hiding places. When they saw the headless metal puppet, they were all startled. The metal puppet that had stood in the hall for more than 1,000 years had its head chopped off. The metal puppet's neck was specially reinforced. No cultivator under the age of 50 could chop it off. But now, this unbelievable scene had happened in real life. The old administrator behind the stone steel narrowed his eyes and sighed. He had not expected to make such a mistake. He smiled bitterly and said, "Little friend, let this saber wind stop. There's no need. Let this wind continue blowing. I want someone to remember how I defeated him." Amid the boundless strong wind, Xiao Chun hugged the lunar shadow saber and glanced indifferently at Xia Yang, whose mouth was agape. "Let the wind continue blowing. I want someone to know how I defeated him." These words sounded very calm and unperturbed. However, they were like a heavy slap to Xia Yang's face, resounding loudly. Xia Yang thought about how Xia Yang had defeated him after he scored 9 points. He had a proud expression on his face and shouted, "How are you going to defeat me?" Now, Xiao Chen used the best action to prove how Xia Yang defeated him. The way Xiao Chen won, the way he won, made Xia Yang's face hurt from the wind. For this stage, our people from the Hall of Sect Affairs had a discussion. Although the gemstone didn't light up, it's still not enough. Although the gems did not light up, the strength that Xiao Chen displayed does not need to be proven. We will give him 10 points for this stage. The wind slowly stopped. As everyone expected, Xiao Chen, who chopped off the metal puppet's head, obtained the rare perfect score. Xiao Chen firmly surpassed Xia Yang, taking first place. After hearing the administrator's conclusion, Batu could not help but laugh. "My apologies, first young Master Lu. My brother made a fool of himself in front of you. Unfortunately, you are not even comparable to a joke. I remember that you only scored 9 points for this stage." Lu Yin was very angry. He had not expected Xiao Chen to use such a decisive method to turn things around. Everyone thought that he would definitely lose in the first round, but he made a huge comeback. Don't get cocky. There's still 3 more stages. The victor is not decided yet, Lu Yin said coldly. Batu rubbed his chin and smiled. These words are really familiar. Oh, that's right. Didn't I say it earlier? Huh. How did Brother Lu rebuke me? Every dog had its day. Seeing Lu Yun's deflated appearance, Batu felt very carefree. How many years had it been since Xiao Chen had seen Lu Yun so angry? This gamble was worth it. Don't get cocky. I will not lose to you in the next 3 stages. Chapter 1173. Xia Yang said coldly to Xiao Chen. Then he stepped forward. The next stage tested movement techniques, which were also based on 10 points. Xia Yang's performance in this stage was not very good. The 10th layer Thunder Fire art allowed his explosive power to far surpass that of the younger generation. However, his movement technique was much weaker. He only managed to get 7 points in this stage, barely passing the passing line. Seeing his opponent's unsatisfactory performance, Xiao Chen was happy and relaxed. He held back some of his strength, using only the Great Perfection Thunder Dragon steps to obtain 8 points. Xiao Chen did not have a specific goal. He just needed to obtain 1 point more than his opponent in each stage. He could not do anything about the first stage. Xia Yang obtained 9 points. If Xiao Chen did not bring out his full strength, he would not be able to surpass him. In the second stage, Xiao Chen could preserve his strength. Naturally, Xiao Chen chose to do so. Among the cultivators watching, Xiao Chen discovered several strong existences. The auras they gave off were no weaker than Lu Yun's. Xiao Chen did not know what these people were here for. If he could preserve some of his strength, he would do so, not letting others see through him. The third stage tested eyesight. There was no need to mention this stage. Xiao Chen had already cultivated the Heavenly Eye. If Xiao Chen opened the Heavenly Eye, even the half-step Emperor Wu would not be a match for him. He did not need to open the Heavenly Eye to deal with Xia Yang. Xiao Chen easily obtained 7 points, defeating his opponent's 6 points. It looked like the two were locked in a stalemate. Every time, it seemed like Xia Yang had a chance to defeat Xiao Chen. However, Xiao Chen surpassed him by 1 point every time. After 3 stages, the gap between the two reached 3 points. Lu Yun's expression turned increasingly unsightly. At the start, Batu, whom Lu Yun looked down on, smiled more widely. The 4th stage tested practical combat. With Xiao Chen's intentional control, Lu Yun finally defeated Xiao Chen, defeating Xiao Chen 6 points with 7 points. After the 4 stages, Xiao Chen obtained a total of 31 points, and Xia Yang obtained 29 points. The two's total points successfully entered the top 50 of the Outstanding Talent token. Among the Heaven's Pride tokens, Xiao Chen had engraved the number 30, while Xia Yang had engraved the number 49. The numbers represented their rankings. It was clear who won and who lost the bet between Batu and Lu Yun. Everyone had already somewhat expected the final outcome from the moment Xiao Chen chopped off the Iron Man's head. However, Xiao Chen still could not accept it. How could a nameless person turn the tables and defeat the Thunder Fire Sovereign's descendant, Xiaoyang? Huh, young man, you're quite ambitious. I wonder how much of your strength you will be able to bring out in the test for the proud son of Heaven Token. The old deacon who had first tested Xiao Chen's strength had keenly noticed that Xiao Chen had concealed his true strength in the last few tests, so he had secretly transmitted a message to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen did not pay too much attention to it. He hid his strength simply to avoid some trouble. He did not have any other ambitions. He could only say that this old deacon was thinking too much. 200 essence stones. Quickly take them out. The victor had already been decided. Batu immediately led Xiao Chun to demand repayment, not giving Lu Yun any face. Lu Yun's face darkened as he tossed out 200 essence stones. He said coldly, "Let me tell you, my essence stones are not that easy to obtain. Don't run into me at the summit meeting." After saying that, Lu Yun felt that he had lost too much face, so he quickly left. Xiaoyang, who followed closely behind, glanced at Xiao Chun before leaving without saying a word. "Is that so? I think they are easy to obtain. Coincidentally, I lack essence stones." "Many thanks, Brother Lu," Batu said loudly to Lu Yun, who had already gone far away, as he accepted the essence stones with a carefree smile on his face. "Come, let's go and have a drink." This was really delightful. Batu directly handed the essence stones to Xiao Chun, not showing any intention of putting them in his pocket. Then, he led Xiao Chun out of the city lord's residence. The commotion slowly died down. However, news of Xiao Chun chopping off the metal puppet's head with one saber strike in the city lord's residence's clan affairs hall, which was unprecedented in history, would definitely spread throughout the entire Dark City in a short time. As a bladesman, Xiao Chun obtained full marks in the first stage of the Outstanding Talent Tokens test, putting him on par with the half-step Emperor Wu. However, to everyone's surprise, Xiao Chen's feat in the Clan Affairs Hall was just the beginning. Over the next few days, people continued to obtain the Outstanding Talent Token, setting new records one after another. Furthermore, most of these people were not the local outstanding talents of Dark City. They were all outsiders, giving off the feeling that a storm was brewing. The cultivators in Dark City only reacted when the news of the start of the new Outstanding Talent Summit meeting spread. These strong, outstanding talents that suddenly appeared were people from other sea domains who came to participate in the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. The originally restless Dark City immediately turned even more chaotic. Every day, there would be fierce battles between outstanding talents, trying to determine who was stronger. Among them, many of the outsiders had made a name for themselves in a series of fierce battles. This allowed people to know the names of these people in advance. Dark City was very chaotic. However, Xiao Chun did not care about this chaos. He remained in the Flame Rock Fortress and anxiously repaired the dragon subduing platform with Yu Bingyan. Xiao Chun anxiously repaired the dragon subduing platform with Yu Bingyan. Even his cultivation time was squeezed out. With the Outstanding Talent Token, Xiao Chun successfully purchased the divine materials he needed to repair the dragon subduing platform. At the same time, he saved a large sum of black astral coins, allowing him to experience the great benefits of the Outstanding Talent Token. Yu Bingyan did not go anywhere in Dark City. When she learned that Xiao Chun wanted to repair the dragon subduing platform, she took the initiative to offer her help. The repair was a huge project. It would be great if someone was willing to help. Xiao Chen did not think too much before agreeing. On this particular day, the repair of the dragon's subduing platform reached its final stage. Batu rushed over to inform Xiao Chen of a piece of news. "My first brother, Ba Yin, came out of closed-door cultivation and wants to meet you." Xiao Chen had heard of Batu's first brother, Ba Yin. This person was very strong and ranked among the top of the many outstanding talents in Dark City. Even that Lu Yin once suffered at Ba Yin's hands. Xiao Chen had stayed in this Flame Rock Fortress for a long time. Be it out of courtesy or curiosity, Xiao Chen wanted to meet this person. Xiao Chen stopped what he was doing and followed Batu together with Yu Bingyan. When they arrived at a drill ground in the fortress, they saw Ba Yin exchanging moves with a senior of his clan on the drill ground. A stout man who looked somewhat similar to Ba Tu stood on the drill ground. His entire body surged with energy. Every time he punched, there would be the sound of rocks crashing and flames surging. Every move of this man was extremely ferocious. He walked the path of opening and closing. However, these simple moves had a certain charm to them. After watching for a long time, Xiao Chun discovered the profoundness behind them. Ba Yin cultivated two wills, the will of fire and the will of rock. He cultivated both wills to great perfection. Furthermore, he used an ingenious method to merge them, forming the will of flame rock unique to the flame rock sovereign's bloodline. The will of flame contained a surging, boundless explosive force and the hardness and toughness of rock. Ba Yan's opponent was a consummation blue-robed emperor of the flame rock fortress. Although this was not a battle to the death, the fight was still extremely intense. Although that old man used all his means, he could not make up for it. When Ba Tu saw this, he revealed an expression of worship. "This is my first brother." When he came out of closed-door cultivation, he cultivated the flame rock art to the 10th layer. He is the most talented person in the history of our clan. When my grandfather was this young, he only cultivated the flame rock art to the 9th layer. Yu Bingyan smiled and asked, "What layer are you at now?" Ba Tu smiled embarrassedly and replied, "Can this be a secret? I'm too embarrassed to say." Although Ba Tu did not say it, Xiao Chun could tell that Ba Tu's flame rock art had only reached the peak of his 6th layer, not even breaking through to the 7th layer. Compared to his first brother, Ba Tu was far from comparable. However, this was not because Ba Tu was too weak. Ba Tu's talent was not bad, either. Rather, it was because his first brother, Ba Yin, was too strong, too dazzling. Bang! Rock and flame merged. When Ba Yin punched with a mighty might, he forced the old man back another 10 steps. The battle in the martial arts arena came to an end here and did not continue. After first young master comes out of closed-door cultivation, you will definitely shine brightly at the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. The descendants of the other great bandits will never imagine that first young master has cultivated the flame rock art to the 10th layer, the old man who was sparring with Ba Yin said with a smile. The old man said with a smile, his face full of anticipation. Ba Yin looked as carefree as Ba Tu's day. He looked like he was in a good mood, but he appeared more cautious and reserved. Ba Yan's eyes burned with a strong fighting spirit, filled with boundless confidence. However, he did not speak confidently. Our clan's flame rock art is a peak inferior grade cultivation technique among profound cultivation techniques. Being able to cultivate it to the 10th layer is indeed a great advantage. However, it is not good to underestimate others because of this. There are no ordinary people among the descendants of great bandits. After saying that, Ba Yin dismissed the old man. Then, he walked over to Xiao Chun excitedly with a smile on his face. "You are the Blue Dragon King Xiao Chun that my younger brother mentioned. According to my younger brother, you are very incredible. You even chopped down that Iron Man from the Clan Affairs Hall with one strike. Let's exchange a few moves." Ba Yan's words sounded very provocative. Ba Tu quickly said, "Xiao Chun, don't mind him. My older brother's temper is like this. When he sees an expert, he can't help itching for a fight. After being in closed-door cultivation for so long, he has not improved at all. It's fine. I would like to see Brother Ba Yan's martial techniques as well." Xiao Chun did not dislike such people. In fact, he was somewhat similar to them. When he saw an expert that made his eyes light up, he could not help wanting to spar with them. He wanted to see what he could learn from them and improve himself. Or perhaps, he just wanted to find an opponent for himself. If a cultivator kept cultivating behind closed doors without having experienced hundreds of battles, they would definitely regress. Ba Yin smiled and said, "It looks like we are on the same path. Let's exchange 3 moves, then." Xiao Chun nodded and said, "That's what I was thinking. Let's go." Before Ba Tu's and Yu Bingyun's stunned gazes, the 2 people who had just met immediately went to the drill platform, preparing to fight. A strange look flashed in Yu Bingyun's eyes. She said, "Why is your elder brother looking for Xiao Chun? Could it be that he wants to spar with him?" Chapter 1174. Ba Tu scratched his head and said, I'm not sure either. It seems like Big Brother received an invitation and is preparing to bring Xiao Chen along. He should be testing his strength now. As the two of them spoke, Xiao Chen and Ba Yin started fighting. Compared to the other cultivators, Ba Yin appeared extremely simple and crude. He did not store up any power, simply raising his hand and punching. Blazing fire-burning clouds. This move was based on the state of raging fire. The moment Ba Yin moved his feet, a surging sea of fire instantly spread out. What a shocking explosive power. The other party's explosive power slightly surprised Xiao Chen. Furthermore, there was no need for him to accumulate power at all. He could control it as he wished. Not daring to be careless, Xiao Chen's figure flashed as he executed the great perfection Thunder Dragon steps. His body became like a dragon as he took 7 steps forward. With every step he took, 1 or 2 wild lightning dragons would shoot out from beneath Xiao Chen's feet, and they would roar towards the sky while baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. After he took 7 steps, 12 berserk electro dragons flew out from behind Xiao Chen. At this moment, he instantly drew his lunar shadow saber and clashed with his opponent's punch. The auras of the two sides clashed, clashing head-on. The saber light and the fist light clashed, giving off a loud sound and kicking up a cloud of dust. However, when the dust settled, Xiao Chen took 5 steps back, but Ba Yin took 10 steps back. What kind of saber technique is this? It is so fast, yet it can still erupt with such might. Ba Yin appeared somewhat shocked. Xiao Chen raised his saber and stood upright. He said, "Thunder Dragon Chop. I condensed the lightning tribulation saber technique that I comprehended in the past into a saber technique. I only recently comprehended it as well. It looks like it is pretty strong. Using the Thunder Dragon steps as the foundation and the lightning tribulation saber technique from before, this was a new move that Xiao Chen came up with in the Blood Sword Sovereign's Cave. Without the advancement of the Thunder Dragon steps, this move would not have appeared. Looking at it now, it was indeed extraordinarily mighty. Interesting. Take another punch from me, conquering the world fist. This punch also obtained the will of rock, not as ferocious and explosive as the will of fire. However, the aura that Xiao Chen's fist technique revealed was even more domineering. It was as if he wanted to suppress the mountains and rivers for 5,000 kilometers with one punch. As Ba Yin soared into the air, the mysterious phenomenon of mountains and rivers appeared under his feet. With this punch, all the mountains and rivers submitted. This move was not as ferocious as before, and the aura it exuded was much weaker. However, the tyrannical aura it radiated gave Xiao Chen even greater pressure. Good timing. This move completely aroused Xiao Chen's competitive spirit. With a loud laugh, he stomped on the ground with one foot. Immediately, a cyan dragon shadow flew out from Xiao Chen's body. The 10,000 heavenly laws in his body all turned into illusory dragons. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 dragons soared into the air, roaring in unison. As Xiao Chen slashed down with his saber, he materialized the subduing dragon profound slash, forming a green saber light that reached the sky. Batu gaped and exclaimed, "Damn, he is trying to destroy the stage." Yu Bingyan also felt some shock. However, she was much calmer than Batu's day. She said indifferently, "Don't worry. It is just a simple exchange. The two of them know their limits and will not bring out their full strength." The punch that contained the might of mountains and rivers for 5,000 kilometers struck the cyan saber light. Kassier. Cracks appeared on the surface of Ba Yan's fist, and countless specks of dust flew out. Xiao Chen's saber strike had broken Ba Yan's protective rock veritable energy. However, the might of this punch was similarly startling. A clear crack appeared in the saber light where Ba Yan's fist struck. "I'm not fighting anymore. I'm not fighting anymore." When Ba Yan saw his protective veritable energy break, he was startled and quickly retreated. When Xiao Chen looked at Xiao Chen again, he no longer dared to underestimate Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's fist, subduing rivers and mountains, was extremely powerful. This was the first time Ba Yan met someone in the same generation who could break his defense. Ba Yin already lost in the first move, and his protective rock veritable energy broke in the second move. If they continued fighting, he would have to use his trump card in the third move. However, Ba Yin did not intend to use his trump card so early. The two moves were very efficient, allowing the two to gain a clearer understanding of each other's strength. Although Ba Yin was slightly weaker in this exchange, he still looked as graceful as before. The first move's horrifying eruption could be executed at will. Xiao Chan circulated the Thunder Dragon steps and took 7 steps before he managed to gain a slight advantage with the Thunder Dragon chop. The second move, Fist subduing rivers, subduing mountains and rivers for 5,000 kilometers, was even more tyrannical. This was the first time someone nearly broke Xiao Chen's subduing dragon profound slash. Xiao Chan felt some anticipation for the third move. If he guessed right, the third move should merge the will of fire and the will of rock. Then, he would circulate the 10th layer of the flame rock art and execute them together to form a horrifying killing move. Xiao Chan estimated that if he perfectly executed it, it would rival a medial-grade, profound martial technique. Unfortunately, Ba Yin suddenly withdrew at the crucial moment. Not bad. Huh. It looks like Ba Tu was right. You are even stronger than he described. Ba Yin walked over while laughing loudly. He did not hold any grudges because he was weaker than Xiao Chan. Instead, his eyes filled with joy. It looked like this Ba Yin was truly a battle maniac. He was the kind of cultivator who truly indulged in combat and did not care about victory or defeat. Big brother, how is it? With Xiao Chen's strength, he can accompany you to that gathering, right? Ba Tu asked with a smile as he walked over with Yubingyan. Ba Yin nodded and said, naturally, he can. However, brother Xiao Chun has to be willing first. Xiao Chun felt somewhat confused as he asked, what gathering? Ba Yin took out an invitation and smiled. I don't know who initiated it, but it's a small gathering for the successors of the 13 Great Bandits. I received it the moment I came out of closed-door cultivation. Hee. It should be someone who wants to test the might of my fist. I don't think I'm a descendant of a great bandit, Xiao Chan said with a frown. He felt that this gathering had nothing to do with him. Ba Yin smiled and said, how can you not figure it out? Even an uncouth person like me knows that this gathering is a test of strength before the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. Tell me, does it have anything to do with you? Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. It was the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting again. Xiao Chen had already heard these words several times. However, he had been busy repairing and rebuilding the dragon's subduing platform, so he did not know what the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting was. Could it be that you still do not know what the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting is after being in Dark City for so long? Seeing that Xiao Chan still had a somewhat confused expression, Ba Yin and Ba Tu both showed surprised expressions. Xiao Chan smiled embarrassedly and said, I really do not know about this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. I came to Dark City for another matter. I am preparing to leave 3 days later. Ba Tu, tell him about it. I thought that he was here for the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. Ba Tu thought for a while and organized his words. Then he said, the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting is jointly held by the factions of the 13 Great Bandits. The purpose of this is to promote competition between the various outstanding talents. It is held once every 5 years, and it is like a test. Anyone with an outstanding talent token can register. The competition is intense and cruel. The top 10 will all receive rewards. The top 3 will receive the most valuable rewards. They will all receive varying amounts of essence stones. The first place will receive a medial grade, profound martial technique and a chance to enter the dark blood pool to strengthen the physical body. Essence stones, a medial grade, profound martial technique. A light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. These 2 items held a fatal attraction to any blue-robed emperor. No wonder the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting was so attractive. This also explained why he saw so many cultivators from the foreign seas coming to apply for an outstanding talent token at the City Administration Hall. What do you think? Do you still think that this small gathering has nothing to do with you? Ba Yin said with a smile, it is very difficult for those who rely on connections to get in. Even if Ba Tu wanted to go, I would not bring him. The ones going this time will definitely be the strongest of the great bandit's descendants. Without sufficient strength, you will only be humiliated. Xiao Chun quickly made his decision. He said seriously, "Many thanks, Brother Bai Yin. When are we leaving?" "Good. Let's go now then. After being in closed-door cultivation for more than half a year, my bones have already turned soft. It is time to meet up with those old friends." Bai Yan's eyes blazed with fighting spirit as he put away the invitation letter and led Xiao Chun away. Before leaving, there were still some finishing touches to the dragon's subduing platform's repairs. So, Xiao Chun could only ask Yu Bingyun to help. Fortunately, Yu Bingyun did not reject it, happily accepting it. However, Xiao Chun found it strange. Given Yu Bingyun's strength, she should be able to participate in the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. However, she did not seem interested. With Bai Yan leading the way, the two flew around the city without any fear. With the Outstanding Talent token in hand, they completely ignored the rules of Dark City that prohibited flying. Along the way, Bai Yan was very talkative. Perhaps it was because of their bloodline, but the descendants of the Flame Rock Sovereign were rather carefree, not holding back when they spoke. "He, Xiao Chun, what exactly is the relationship between you and the Holy Daughter? Thanks to you, this is the first time the Lunar Palace's Holy Daughter has come to our Flame Rock Castle as a guest." Bai Yan was no different from Ba Tu in this aspect. They were both very gossipy. Helpless, Xiao Chun could only give a solemn explanation. However, Bai Yan still did not believe him. All right, let's not talk about this anymore. We have arrived." After traveling for a long time, the two arrived before a restaurant in the inner city. The restaurant gave off a strange aura. Its frame felt exceptionally sturdy. This is the famous Conflagration restaurant of Dark City. The entire restaurant is made of divine materials. Furthermore, there are restrictions laid on it. Even if a battle breaks out in there, it will not damage the restaurant. It is the favorite place of the Black Sea cultivators. Bai Yan had been to the Conflagration restaurant several times before, so he was familiar with the place. Bai Yan strode in, and the originally noisy hall immediately fell silent. Nearly everyone's gazes focused on him. Damn, this battle maniac came out of closed-door cultivation. Hurry up and leave. After holding in for more than half a year, I wonder who he will vent his anger on. A moment of panic appeared in the hall. The messy tables immediately opened up a path for Bai Yan. Xiao Chun laughed hoarsely and said, "It looks like you are quite famous in this place." Bai Yan's lips curled up as he said, "How boring. I still miss the first time I came here. Back then, I fought to my heart's content. Now, the Black Sea cultivators are becoming increasingly cowardly." The location of the gathering was on the second floor of the Conflagration restaurant. Someone had already reserved the entire place. Without an invitation, one could not enter. Chapter 1175. After handing over the invitation, the two of them walked in smoothly. Compared to the bustling hall, the second floor was much quieter. The two did not arrive early. Several young cultivators were already seated in the seats that had been cleared. The instant Xiao Chun stepped onto the second floor, he immediately felt several sharp gazes directed at him. There were many familiar faces here. Lu Yun and Xia Yang were here. It looked like they had been here for a long time. What surprised Xiao Chun was that Jiang Feng, whom he met at Blackwater Island, was here as well. After not seeing Jiang Feng for some time, Jiang Feng's strength had increased very quickly. He now exuded a dangerous aura. Clearly, Zhao Feng noticed Xiao Chun as well. He was similarly surprised. However, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes, and his lips curled up in a cruel smile. Several people who saw Xiao Chun started discussing in whispers. Xiao Chun chopped off the metal puppet's head with one saber strike. This news had recently spread like wildfire, inciting a huge debate. A blue-clad bladesman on a seat suddenly smacked the table. A wine cup flew up and spun around quickly. "Hey, white-robed bladesman, you've been in the limelight recently. I'll treat you to a cup of wine." The blue-clad bladesman smiled coldly and gently smacked the wine cup. Immediately, the wine cup flew at Xiao Chun at a speed that the naked eye could not catch. Indeed, it was as Bai Yan said. The people who came were all unruly. If one was weak, one would only be humiliated. The moment Xiao Chun entered the second floor, someone immediately put on a show of strength. The wine cup that flew over from nowhere was very particular. It was not just at a speed that was hard to catch with the naked eye. All the wine in the cup was infused with the blue-clad bladesman's strong saber intent. If Xiao Chun was not careful, he would end up making a fool of himself, regardless of whether he could catch it or not. If Xiao Chun caught it, the wine filled with saber intent would have long since reached a critical point after spinning thousands of times, exploding upon contact. The explosion would have covered Xiao Chun's entire body. Every drop of water was a lethal existence. Xiao Chun could not avoid a sorry state. If Xiao Chun could not catch it, the other party would say that he was not sincere. This show of strength was very powerful. The descendants of the great bandits were all sneering, waiting to see how Xiao Chun would respond. Bai narrowed his eyes slightly and did not make a move. This was a show of strength aimed at Xiao Chun. If Xiao Chun couldn't even pass this small hurdle, it could only prove that he had misjudged and shouldn't have brought Xiao Chun here. Xiao Chun smiled gently. It was unknown when the lunar shadow saber had appeared in his left hand. In the time it took for a spark to fly, the resplendent saber was unsheathed. Who? The instant Xiao Chun drew his saber, a strong wind containing Xiao Chun's saber intent howled out, lifting everyone's hair. First, Xiao Chun used his strong saber intent to suppress the saber intent in the wine, stopping it from spinning. When the saber was completely drawn, the saber and the wine cup happened to be in a straight line. The wine cup stopped firmly on the tip of the saber. Xiao Chun used his outstanding eyesight, strong saber soul, and fast speed to catch the other party's wine cup. The two looked like good friends that had not met for many years when the blue-clad youth tossed out the wine cup. The blue-clad youth tossed out the wine cup, and Xiao Chun drew a saber to catch it. Their cooperation was tacit. This tense and exciting scene might sound complicated, but in reality, it happened in just an instant, in the blink of an eye. The wine cup stopped spinning on the tip of the saber, and the wine shot out. Xiao Chun raised his head and opened his mouth. The wine flew in a beautiful arc and landed in Xiao Chun's mouth. Not bad. This is indeed good wine. I'll return the cup to you. Xiao Chun sheathed his saber, and the wine cup stopped hovering in the air. Then he wiped the wine off his mouth. Xiao Chun narrowed his eyes, and the 60% comprehended saber soul in his sea of consciousness moved with a thought. Then it attached itself to the wine cup and flew towards the blue-clad youth. The empty wine cup that flew over was like an unparalleled saber light, boundlessly sharp and containing a boundless saber intent. According to the etiquette of toasts, Xiao Chun should have offered a cup of wine in return, not an empty cup. Naturally, Xiao Chun knew about etiquette. However, he had another reason for doing so. The blue-clad youth put on a show of strength the first time they met. Honestly speaking, Xiao Chun did not feel much resentment. This was how the world of cultivators was in the first place. The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. Xiao Chun had long since calmly accepted this. However, he had his own pride. If the other party could catch this empty cup, he would be qualified to receive a toast from him. If the blue-clad youth could not catch it, then he would be sorry. Xiao Chun would not even look at this person in the eye. After Xiao Chun perfectly caught his wine cup with the tip of his saber, the blue-clad youth's expression became much more restrained. When the blue-clad youth saw the empty cup return, his expression turned grave. As the saying went, the layman watched the excitement, while the expert watched the excitement. The two's exchange looked very flashy. All the outstanding talents present knew what kind of danger was contained within these few simple actions. If it were a small perfection blue-robed emperor without much strength, that cup of wine from the blue-clad bladesman would have been sufficient to severely injure him. However, not only did Xiao Chun catch it perfectly, but he even returned an empty cup to the blue-clad youth, testing the blue-clad youth's strength. The situation immediately became interesting. Liu Yang's grandfather is known as the Black Sea Saber Sovereign. He has always been the strongest bladesman of the Black Sea's younger generation. This time, he probably met with an expert. I wonder if he can catch the cup? All the outstanding talents turned their gazes to Liu Yang, wanting to see how he would deal with this. This increased the pressure on him. Liu Yang's thoughts raced. Many countermeasures flashed in his mind, but he rejected them all. It was not difficult to catch the empty cup. However, not only did he have to catch it, but he also had to catch it as beautifully as Xiao Chun did, casually catching it. Otherwise, if he put in too much effort, he would end up at a disadvantage in this formless competition. In one breath of time, Liu Yang thought of a countermeasure. He stretched out his right index finger and gently tapped, catching the empty cup flying over perfectly. Uchi, the wine cup spun rapidly in Liu Yang's hand. Every time it spun, it scattered a large portion of the saber intent that Xiao Chun added to it. The wind howled, buzzing. The saber wind that Liu Yang sent out lingered on the second floor. It was like many treasured sabers humming endlessly. The sharp saber intent made everyone's expression turn serious. This empty cup that Xiao Chun returned with was not simple at all. Similarly, Liu Yang's hand that caught the empty cup with one finger was not careless at all. The two of them were evenly matched as they fought back and forth. There is no wine in the cup. It looks like young Master Xiao says that it is good wine, but in reality, you look down on this Liu's wine. You're not even willing to return a cup. Never mind. This Liu will offer you another cup. I will make sure that your words are the same, no longer saying one thing and thinking another. In Liu Yang's mouth, the empty wine cup that Xiao Chun used to test the waters became a new excuse, an excuse for him to make another move. Liu Yang spun the wine cup around his finger and smiled faintly. Then, he suddenly let go, letting the cup spin in the air. It was like magic. The instant Liu Yang let go, an exquisitely carved white jade wine bottle emanating a cold qi appeared in his right hand. The wine that flowed out was like snow melting on a mountain peak, slowly falling into the wine cup. The temperature of the entire second floor plummeted. As Liu Yang poured the wine, it became increasingly cold. It was so cold that everyone felt their blood freeze. Strands of cold qi rose from the wine cup. An alluring wine fragrance spread out, shattering one's heart and causing them to reveal an intoxicated expression. What wine is this? Why is it so fragrant? It must be a peak quality wine. At the same time, it perfectly matches Liu Yang's will of ice. The wine that he's going to offer is definitely extraordinary. Interesting. This is getting more and more interesting. The outstanding young talents discussed the unexpected clash between the two bladesmen. Everyone was filled with anticipation. When the wine cup landed on the table, it was filled to the brim. Liu Yang put down the wine bottle and picked up the wine cup, shaking it gently. A clump of snowflakes soared up from the wine. Countless snowflakes bloomed, and an ice phoenix grabbed the wine cup and spread its wings to fly away. This wine is called 1,000-Year Snow. I was fortunate enough to buy 10 bottles in the distant ice sea. I hope that I will not disappoint Brother Xiao this time. Liu Yang's gaze turned cold. The wine cup filled with 1,000-year snow emanated Liu Yang's cold and emotionless saber intent. Then, he charged forward together with the Ice Phoenix. The Ice Phoenix, which was originally just an image, seemed to come to life with the support of Liu Yang's saber intent. The Ice Phoenix held the wine cup with its claws. Its eyes were cold and piercing, looking cold-blooded and emotionless. Just this cold gaze alone allowed others to catch a glimpse of Liu Yang's strong saber intent. The sudden appearance of the Ice Phoenix caused the wine cup to fly over much faster than before. As it spread its wings, it carried a sharp saber intent and a strong pressure. Xiao Chen did not dare to underestimate it. He dodged and pushed off the ground. Then, he spread his arms and slowly flew backward. He retreated. Liu Yang's lips curled up in a cocky smile. In the end, he still retreated. However, Liu Yang's smile slowly froze. As Xiao Chun retreated, his white robes fluttered and his long hair fluttered. Every strand of his hair and every strand of his fluttering robes gave off a strong saber intent. Ding, ding, dang, dang. As Xiao Chen's hair fluttered, the sound of the saber sounded like zither music. As Xiao Chen's robes fluttered, The sound of the saber sounded like a heroic war drum. As the zither and drum sounded, Shao Chen advanced by retreating. He used his strong saber intent to resolve Liu Yang's sharp and unparalleled saber intent on the Ice Phoenix step by step. Shao Chen spun around and smiled faintly. Then he sat behind a table and casually put down the Lunar Shadow saber. Then he stretched out his hand to catch the wine cup. Shao Chen easily caught the wine cup of the Ice Phoenix, which had already exhausted its saber intent. The Ice Phoenix circled around Shao Chen's head before turning into snowflakes and drifting down. Looking at the wine cup and the wine cup, Shao Chen picked it up and drained it in one gulp. When the wine entered his throat, it felt incredibly spicy and had a strong aftertaste. It made him feel very carefree and delighted. It is indeed a good wine. Young Master Liu, you lived up to your words. Shao Chen praised Liu Yang as he put down the wine cup with a slightly flushed face, appearing somewhat tipsy. Liu Yang's heart sank, but his hands did not stop moving. He said coldly, as the saying goes, drink 3 cups when you meet. Since it is good wine, then drink 3 cups in a row. Liu Yang, who was not convinced, filled 3 cups of 1,000-year snow with dazzling movements. Then he sent them to Shao Chen again. Good timing. Shao Chen was a wine lover in the first place. This 1,000-year snow suited his taste. He laughed loudly and picked up the empty wine cup. Then he infused his saber soul into it and knocked it against the table. Bang! Chapter 1176. The 3 incoming Ice Phoenixes shattered under Shao Chen's full force attack. As the snowflakes swirled in the air, Shao Chen downed 3 cups in a row. Not satisfying enough, Shao Chen put down the wine cup heavily. He felt his entire body relax, like he was drunk, but not drunk. The more he drank, the stronger he became. As you wish. Liu Yang's expression turned slightly unsightly. He stood up, and his aura erupted. Liu Yang's hands moved so fast that no one could see them clearly. Cup after cup of 1,000-year snow flew out together with the Ice Phoenixes and snowbirds. In the main hall, all the geniuses were a little stunned. They did not expect a simple toast to be so majestic. Wearing the fleeting shadow gloves, Shao Chen looked at the dazzling Ice Phoenixes. His hands moved much faster than Liu Yang's. Cup after cup, Shao Chen seemed to be truly drunk. He could not help but laugh loudly in the wind and snow. A strong saber intent spread out from his body. As he laughed, his usual calm was gone, replaced by arrogance and indulgence. Pooh! Liu Yang's movement stopped. He discovered that his wine cup was empty. The 1,000-year snow he brought had already been used up. As for Shao Chen, he had already drunk more than 100 cups. No more wine? It's fine. I have some. As the saying goes, 1,000 cups are not enough when drinking with a bosom friend. Although young Master Liu and I are not bosom friends, we are both wine lovers. Since you have toasted me 100 cups, I will return 1,000 cups. Shao Chen put down his wine cup and stood up. His fine black hair fluttered in the wind like a waterfall. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The empty cups on every table on the second floor started to tremble under the influence of Shao Chen's 60% comprehended saber soul. However, these cups were not enough. The saber intent spread out, and all the empty wine cups in the hall started to tremble violently. What's going on? The many cultivators in the conflagration restaurant all had horrified expressions. They did not know what was happening. Whoosh! With a thought from Shao Chen, all the wine cups gathered on the second floor. There were exactly 1,000 cups, no more, no less. All the 1,000-year flame that Shao Chen collected flew out of the universe ring. He casually waved his hand, and the wine bottle shattered. Golden wine flickered with a golden light as it sprayed out. Not a single drop was spilled, and all of it fell into the wine cup hovering in the air. Buzz! The wine cup shook slightly, and clumps of flame soared up. With the support of Shao Chen's saber soul, they formed a huge golden crow. The golden crow spread its wings, and a horrifying saber intent pressed down on everyone, making it hard to breathe. A startled cry rang out as the golden crow slowly flew towards Liu Yang, carrying 1,000 cups of 1,000-year flame. When Shao Chen looked at Liu Yang, This descendant of the Black Sea Saber Sovereign was already scared silly, his legs trembling slightly. Who among the heroes of the world dared to say that they would not be drunk after 1,000 cups of wine? Since you've toasted me 100 cups, I'll return 1,000. Do you dare drink? The huge golden crow gave off a dazzling golden light. Xiao Qian's strong, 60% comprehended saber soul made the golden crow's aura extremely sharp. Together with 1,000 cups of thousand-year flame, the golden crow not only suppressed Lu Yang, the descendant of the saber sovereign, but also caused his legs to go soft. Even the descendants of the other great bandits showed stunned expressions. They felt immense pressure, and their hearts pounded heavily. At the same time, they felt some lingering fear. Fortunately, the one who mocked Xiao Qian was not them. Just thinking about the 1,000 cups of wine pressing down on them made them tremble in fear. After 100 cups of thousand-year snow entered his stomach, Xiao Qian felt slightly dizzy. He had not drunk so much in a long time. Xiao Qian had not gotten drunk in a long time. He could no longer remember the last time he got drunk. Who cares about his identity as the Blue Dragon King? Who cares about being the descendant of the Qing Emperor? Who cares about being a meteor if he does not advance to Martial Emperor in 5 years? This time, I'll just get drunk. I don't care about anything else. I'll be arrogant and unrestrained. Xiao Qian's hair and clothes fluttered continuously. His strong saber intent worked together with Xiao Qian's. The tyrannical aura that he had kept hidden in his heart for a long time was unleashed without any reservations. Ha ha! In the vast Black Sea where outstanding talents gather, there is not a single person who dares to drink with me. As Xiao Qian held the wine cup, he blushed slightly. When he saw the frightened Lu Yang, he could not help but laugh loudly. His laughter was unrestrained, coupled with his drunkenness, making him feel very happy. The strange movements of the wine cups earlier startled the hundreds of cultivators in the hall of the Conflagration restaurant. This was the place where the fiercest cultivators of the Black Sea gathered. However, when they arrived at the top of the restaurant and peeked at the situation on the second floor, they could not help being startled. Damn it! Who is this? How arrogant! How arrogant! Boundlessly arrogant. This is the first time I feel that this Lu Yang is so pitiful. Who would dare to accept these 1,000 cups of wine? This white-robed bladesman seems to be the person who caused a huge commotion recently. He is the one who chopped off the head of the City Affairs Hall's metal puppet. So it is him. I've heard of him before. I heard that Xia Yang, the descendant of the Thunderfire Sovereign, won in a domineering manner. At that time, he really shocked a lot of people. Seeing Xiao Qian's unrestrained manner, the cultivators who were peeking disgust in low voices. Their eyes filled with worship. The strong reigned supreme, no matter where it was. On the second floor, Ba Yin blushed with shame. This Xiao Qian brother was probably really drunk, daring to say anything. With one sentence, he offended all the outstanding talents present. However, he is arrogant enough. I like it, Ba Yin said with a grin. When Lu Yang heard Xiao Qian's words, his complexion alternated between red and white. He felt very ashamed. Earlier, he had mocked Xiao Qian, but Xiao Qian did not return the toast. Now that he had 1,000 cups, Lu Yang regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. If Lu Yang had to face such a vast saber intent alone, he would not be able to match it. Don't laugh at my Black Sea for having no one. I want Zhao Feng to drink with you. Unexpectedly, the first outstanding talent to step forward was actually Jiang Feng, who had suffered at Xiao Qian's hands once. Xiao Qian's eyes were hazy from drunkenness. When he saw Jiang Feng step forward, he laughed loudly and said, "I'll toast you 100 cups." Whoosh! As Xiao Qian laughed, he waved his hand, and 100 cups of thousand-year flame immediately flew towards Jiang Feng. Every cup of golden wine contained Xiao Qian's strong saber intent. As the 100 cups flew out, they were like hundreds of strands of sharp saber qi. Jiang Feng's face sank. He did not dare to underestimate Xiao Qian. His figure flashed, and his hands moved rapidly. He received cup after cup and placed them in his mouth, directly drinking them. However, after drinking 30 cups, he stumbled and felt dizzy. The strong aftereffects of the thousand-year flame made him feel tipsy. Pussy-eye, pussy-eye. After drinking another 10-odd cups, Jiang Feng could no longer hold on. The movements of his hands slowed somewhat, and the cups of thousand-year flame struck him. His entire body was covered in wounds as he went flying. Only now did the crowd realize how strong the aftereffects of peak-quality wine was. How strong was Xiao Chun, who could still stand stably after drinking 100 cups? I'll drink with you. Lu Yun, will drink with you. However, Xiao Chun stirred up everyone's hot-bloodedness. With Jiang Feng taking the lead, they all stepped forward one after another. All of a sudden, the originally empty second floor was in chaos. All the outstanding talents of the Black Sea got drunk. The thousand-year flame was a peak-quality wine. Normally, drinking one cup would make one dizzy. After drinking dozens of cups, it was impossible not to get drunk. Amid the chaos, some people's eyes turned bloodshot. Feeling angry in their hearts, they drew their weapons and charged at Xiao Chun. The first to attack was Lu Yang, who was being bullied the most miserably. He drew his saber, and his figure flashed as he executed a killing move. Xiao Chun laughed loudly and gently drifted over. He picked up a cup of thousand-year flame and drained it in one go before dodging. Then his figure moved swiftly and executed Thunder Dragon steps. He took 7 steps and ferociously chopped down the Thunder Dragon chopped together with the Lunar Shadow Saber. Bang! Lu Yang, who blocked with his saber, got knocked back by Xiao Chun, crashing into the wall of the restaurant in a sorry state. Xiao Chun held his saber horizontally as he stood on the table. Then, he staggered and drank another cup. Smiling in disdain, he said, "You are only SOSO, and you still want to sneak attack me. Attack together." When the group of drunk people saw Xiao Chun standing on the table, their blood surged. They could no longer resist charging over. Good timing. Half drunk and half awake, Xiao Chun felt free and unfettered. There was a kind of unbridled feeling that he had never felt before flowing through his veins. After the effects of the alcohol, this unbridled feeling was amplified 100-fold. Xiao Chun laughed loudly 3 times and brandished his Lunar Shadow Saber, charging over. Saber lights and sword images appeared, and mysterious phenomena appeared. The intense battle turned chaotic. Xiao Chun weaved his way through the crowd, drifting away. Such a chaotic battle caused the eyes of the cultivators peeking outside the building to widen. A proper gathering actually turned into such a state. No one had expected it. What was even more unexpected was that the drunk Xiao Chun let go of all his limbs. Even when fighting against so many outstanding talents alone, he did not seem to be at a disadvantage. Xiao Chun's strong 60% comprehended saber soul even gave him the upper hand in the situation. The thousands of cups of thousand-year flame in the air had already scattered. The wine cups contained Xiao Chun's saber intent. They did not shatter in this chaotic battle. Instead, they moved about as the battle went on. Xiao Chun went completely berserk, releasing all the pressure. Occasionally, he drank a cup of thousand-year flame to fight the outstanding talents. For hours later, aside from the sturdy main body of the restaurant, the tables, shelves, screens, and all sorts of decorations had all shattered. The floor was a mess. The outstanding talents fell to the ground, unable to get up. It was unknown whether they were completely drunk or knocked out by Xiao Chun. As he swayed, Xiao Chun's white robes were dyed red with blood. Much of it was his blood, but most of it was the blood of the great bandit's descendants. As Xiao Chun stood at the table, he drank the last cup of thousand-year flame. Then, he looked around with his drunken eyes and discovered that no one was still standing. So he could not help laughing loudly again. However, this laughter contained some desolation, a loneliness that others would find hard to understand. The winds and clouds of the world come from my generation. Once I enter the world, time flies. The peak of the Emperor's Road is filled with boundless glory. Xiao Chun laughed loudly and fell over. The empty wine cup in his hand fell to the ground with a clatter, shattering into pieces. When Bai Yin, who had been hiding at the side when the chaotic battle started, saw this scene, he quickly rushed over. When he saw the mess, he smiled bitterly and said, I really should not have brought him here. The host of this gathering should be crying now. Even now, Ba Yin had not seen the host of the gathering. This was to his liking. It was best if he did not see him. Ba Yin carried Xiao Chun on his back and prepared to leave this troublesome place. He accidentally chopped down all the outstanding talents. This matter had blown out of proportion. Chapter 1177. Whoosh! Just as Ba Yin carried Xiao Chun on his back and prepared to leave, two figures flashed out of the messy second floor. If Xiao Chun were still here, he would definitely recognize these two people. They were the two figures he saw at the city gates that day. One of them was Zhao Feng, the descendant of the Divine Eye Sovereign, who was ranked second among the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea. The other person was Sima Lingxian, the most famous and dazzling outstanding young talent in the Black Sea. This was especially so after Sima Lingxuan's adoptive father, Zhong Boxiong, advanced as sovereign martial emperor. Sima Lingxuan's status soared, no one able to compete with him. These two were the organizers of this gathering. They had arrived long ago for the sake of waiting for a certain person. However, they did not show themselves. Who would have thought that the gathering would turn out like this? It was truly unexpected. The person they were waiting for did not show up. Instead, such a person showed up, brandishing a saber and beating up the crowd. "Indeed, it is you," Sima Lingxian said through clenched teeth as he looked in the direction Xiao Chun and Ba Yin had left in. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. When Sima Lingxian heard the name of the white-robed bladesman in the city, he had suspected that it was that Xiao Chun. Now that he saw it for himself, he confirmed his guess. Unexpectedly, after not seeing him for 10 years, Xiao Chun was still so strong. Compared to the Sky Dome Realm's 5-nation youth competition, he was still as elegant as before, inspiring an unparalleled feeling. If news of this scene spread, the name of the white-robed bladesman Xiao Chun would resound throughout the entire Dark City, surpassing Sima Lingxian once again. It would be just like the 5-nation youth competition back then, when Xiao Chun suddenly rose up and completely overshadowed Sima Lingxuan's glory. "You're coming to participate in the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting as well. Very good. I have waited for this day for a long time." A resolute expression flashed in Sima Lingxuan's eyes as he thought to himself. Only then did he slowly calm down. Zhao Feng, who was at the side, did not notice Sima Lingxuan's strange expression. He looked at the many great bandits lying on the ground, snoring loudly. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. Those present were all famous geniuses of the Dark City. To think that an outsider would cause them to be in such a sorry state. Of course, part of the reason was that the strength of these geniuses had greatly decreased after drinking the wine. However, Xiao Chen's strength was undeniable. It could only be described with one word: powerful. At least, Zhao Feng thought that if he met Xiao Chun, his chances of winning wouldn't exceed 50%. However, he was still confident that if he ran into Xiao Chun at the Geniuses Summit, he would still be the one to emerge victorious. It's a pity that Huang Yun still hasn't shown up. That guy's been gone for 3 years. I bet he's already forgotten about the Geniuses Summit meeting. Zhao Feng quietly said, "That's right. The purpose of this summit was to force Huang Yun out. Even though the descendant of the top pirate of the Black Sea, the Blood Shark Sovereign, had been gone for 3 years, he still remained a burden in Zhao Feng and Sima Lingxuan's hearts." Sima Lingxian said calmly, "It is indeed unfortunate. However, the unfortunate person is you, Zhao Feng." "What do you mean?" Sima Lingxian revealed a mocking expression as he said indifferently, "Haha, unfortunately, your strength has not improved at all. You will still lose to me this time. Did you not notice that that person is already here?" Zhao Feng's expression changed, and the light in his eyes began to rapidly change. An azure whirlpool of light began to spin in the depths of his eyes. A blurry scarlet figure appeared in Zhao Feng's vision. The scarlet figure flickered and quickly vanished from his vision, quickly changing directions. Whoosh! A figure appeared on the second floor of the Conflagration restaurant. This figure wore yellow robes and carried a scarlet saber on his back. His eyes were slightly red. This was the Blood Shark Sovereign's descendant, Huang Yun. He's back. Some of the martial practitioners who were watching from a high vantage point revealed horrified expressions when they saw the yellow figure, appearing to be extremely panic-stricken. The Blood Shark Sovereign's descendant, Huang Yun. 3 years ago, Huang Yun was the absolute overlord of the younger generation of Dark City. After he left, Sima Lingxian and Zhao Feng slowly rose to fame. This was especially so for Sima Lingxian. He rose very quickly, already showing signs of surpassing Huang Yun. Now that Huang Yun returning before the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting, there would definitely be a fierce battle at this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. First, there was the strong appearance of the white-robed bladesman, beating up the outstanding talents in a drunken state. Then, there were the cultivators from the outer sea, stirring up trouble and eyeing covetously. Then, there were the veteran overlords returning to Dark City. It will be difficult not to look forward to this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. After not coming for 3 years, the great bandits of Dark City seemed to have weakened again. Huang Yun glanced at the drunk, outstanding talent lying on the ground and frowned slightly. He did not hide his disdain at all. Huang Yun raised his head and looked between Zhao Feng and Sima Lingxian. Finally, he fixed his gaze on Sima Lingshuan's face. The two of you are pretty good. 3 years ago, I predicted that you would rise up. However, I did not expect you to rise up so quickly. However, you have a demon in your heart. If you do not get rid of it, you will find it hard to advance. You are not worthy of being my opponent. Sima Lingshuan's heart sank. 3 years had passed, but this Huang Yun was still as strong as before. He could see through Sima Lingshuan's weakness with one glance. Sima Lingshuan's demon was Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun had killed Sima Lingshuan's father and once trampled on him. If Sima Lingxian did not defeat Xiao Chun, he would find it hard to undergo a true transformation. However, a demon can be a shackle or a motivation. If you really think that you will suffer a miserable defeat at the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. A strong fighting spirit appeared in Sima Lingshuan's eyes. He did not fear this returning overlord. Huang Yun smiled faintly, still feeling confident. You are not a match for me. In that case, how about I be your opponent? Just as Sima Lingxian was about to reply, a voice suddenly rang out on the second floor. A figure with a strong aura charged over, knocking away many cultivators peeking around before landing heavily on the ground. This person's eyes appeared somewhat chaotic, and his skin seemed like metal, flickering with a faint luster. Clearly, he was not of the human race or the fiend race bloodline, looking extremely strange. This was a mixed blood of humans and demons, possessing the bloodlines of both humans and high-ranked iron demons. It's him, Mo Ran. He is one of the cultivators from the outer sea who caused the most trouble in Dark City recently. Since he is here, then the Ice Sea's Lung Xian and the Storm Sea's Ouyang Feng will definitely be here as well. This is the true gathering. This is just the beginning. The moment this person appeared, many cultivators immediately recognized him. He was the Human Demon Sea's young expert, Mo Ran. Whoosh, whoosh. A strong wind blew, and 2 men appeared on the second floor one after another. One of them was tall and exuded a strong aura. This was the Storm Sea's Ouyang Feng. The other had a frosty expression, looking cold and emotionless. This was the Ice Sea's Lung Xian. The true gathering of outstanding talents had just begun. These words were not wrong at all. The 5 people here represented the strongest outstanding talents in Dark City, including Xiao Chun and Bai Yin, who left. The strongest outstanding talents were all here. Huang Yun revealed a cruel smile and said, Dark City's Outstanding Talent Summit meeting has never benefited outsiders before. With me, Huang Yun, around, you'll not be able to break this record. Is that so? Let's see how capable you are. The Human Demon Sea's Mo Ran smiled coldly as he charged over. Mo Ran's body flickered with light, looking like he had a body of steel. He was heavy and sturdy, and every step he took produced loud bangs. Mo Ran was like a running mountain. His aura was startling and unparalleled berserk as he punched. Huang Yin narrowed his eyes, and his slightly red eyes turned completely scarlet. He did not draw his saber, but also sent a punch. Bang! The two fists clashed, producing a loud, ear-splitting sound. The two each took 10 steps back, and the entire conflagration restaurant shook continuously. Huang Yun, who carried the scarlet saber on his back, said coldly, "You are merely so. With just this bit of ability, you cannot force me to draw my saber." The expressions of the Storm Sea's Ouyang Feng and the Ice Sea's Lung Xin changed slightly. Huang Yin was indeed somewhat scarily strong. As a bladesman, Huang Yin actually used his fist to receive Mo Rant's move. If Huang Yin had used his saber, the result would have been different. You had best not come to the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting half a month from now. Otherwise, if you lose too miserably, don't blame me for not showing mercy. The boundlessly tyrannical Huang Yin left behind these words. Then, a scarlet light flashed as he left the conflagration restaurant. How arrogant! Do you think that this is all my trump card? Mo Ran was not convinced at all. He pushed off the ground and charged forward fearlessly again. Now, only 4 people remained. Sima Lingxian glanced at the other 2 foreign cultivators. A fierce fighting spirit blazed in his eyes as he said, "Since you are already here, it would be a pity if you only exchange 1 or 2 moves." That is precisely the case, the Storm Sea's Ouyang Feng and the Ice Sea's Lung Xin said at the same time. A series of probing exchanges quickly took place in the restaurant. Everyone wanted to test each other out. However, no one would expose their trump cards. Everything would only erupt at the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. At this moment, Xiao Chun was completely drunk and unconscious. He did not know anything about what happened after that. He did not know that a few strong people had arrived after him. This time, he was completely drunk. In the rock castle, Bai Yin carried Xiao Chun all the way to his courtyard. The sound startled Yu Bingyun, who was busy repairing the dragon subduing platform. When Yu Bingyun saw the unconscious, blood-soaked Xiao Chun covered in wounds, her expression changed visibly. Her face turned cold, and a dense murderous intent flashed in her eyes. The appearance of that murderous intent startled Bai Yin. He found it hard to imagine that the pure and holy Yu Bingyun would have such a horrifying side. What's wrong with him? Who injured him? Bai Yin quickly explained what happened in the conflagration restaurant in detail, dispelling Yu Bingyun's doubts. He drank 100 cups of peak-grade wine in a row. Yu Bingyun's murderous intent vanished, and she showed some shock on her face. For a wine to be called peak-grade wine, it would have a strong after-effect. Even the blue-robed emperor could not drink too much. Drinking 100 cups like Xiao Chun was simply unheard of. Even Emperor Wu did not dare to do so. After that, Xiao Chen's actions were even crazier. He beat up the outstanding talents while drunk, fighting alone against so many outstanding talents. He was truly drunk. If it were the rational Xiao Chun, he would not have done such a crazy thing. That is what happened. Don't blame me for not helping out at that time. It was so chaotic. I was afraid that it would become even more chaotic after I went in. I'll leave it to you. Chapter 1178. After Ba Yin tossed Xiao Chun onto Yu Bingyun, he finally felt some relief. This Xiao Chun brother looked refined. Unexpectedly, he went crazy. Even a battle maniac like him, who everyone feared, felt ashamed of his inferiority. Yu Bingyun felt slightly stunned. She wanted to call out to Bai Yin, but he had already gone far away. Then, she saw Xiao Chun stumbling, looking like he would fall over. She panicked and quickly rushed forward to catch him. Yu Bingyun looked at the sleeping Xiao Chun on her shoulder for a long time. Then, she smiled bitterly. That's good. This fellow probably has not had a good sleep for a long time already. Since you carried me once, I'll carry you once as well. This place was still a long distance from Xiao Chen's bedroom. Yu Bingyun would not be able to bring herself to carry Xiao Chen over. Yu Bingyun said somewhat mischievously. Then, she copied Bai Yin and carried Xiao Chen to the bedroom. He is really heavy. After placing Xiao Chen on the bed, Yu Bingyun gently breathed out. Then, she looked at the bloodstains on Xiao Chen's face that had not been cleaned off. For some reason, Yu Bingyin recalled the time in the Blood Sword Sovereign's cave. Every time the Blood Sword Sovereign tried to stand up, he would vomit blood all over his face. Unknowingly, Yu Bingyun's hand moved down and touched Xiao Chen's face. However, she withdrew her hand immediately, like she recalled something. Then, she shook her head and brought over a basin of water to wipe Xiao Chen's face clean. Then, she called a maidservant over to help Xiao Chen change his clothes and clean his wounds. After everything was done, Yu Bingyan returned to the bedroom. She saw that Xiao Chen's eyes were still closed, showing no signs of waking up. Xiao Chen had truly fallen into a deep sleep. If it were in the past, even the slightest movement would startle Xiao Chen awake. However, this time, due to the aftereffects of drinking 100 cups of peak-quality wine, even after someone changed Xiao Chen's clothes, he still did not react. Xiao Chen could only be said to be drunk. After sighing, Yu Bingyan picked up Xiao Chen's blood-stained white robes. Then, she quietly closed the door and turned to leave. Xiao Chen had a dream. The dream was hazy but real. He dreamed of Seven-Horn Mountain, of his father who chased him out of the clan, of Heavenly Saber Pavilion, of Lu Ryu, of Bai, of Feng Feishu. He dreamed of many, many people. He happily chatted with these people and felt extremely relaxed. But in the end, he saw that those people were running as fast as they could behind him. But no matter how hard they tried, they could not catch up to him. He wanted to turn around, but an invisible force prevented him from doing so. The road ahead was a bridge, and on the opposite side of the bridge stood a door. On the door stood a blurry figure. However, Xiao Qin knew who that was. That was the Qing Emperor of the Dragon's Gate. He was an unparalleled and tyrannical existence who swept through the world, an invincible existence. Even though Xiao Chen had been dead for 10,000 years, he could still hear his name no matter where he went. Only he could trample on that emperor's gate. Xiao Chen had too many questions in his heart. He wanted to ask Xiao Chen why he came to this world. Why did Xiao Chen become enemies with the world, causing the Xiao clan's descendants to fall into such dire straits? Why did he leave such a huge mess for Xiao Chen? Suddenly, the bridge broke. As Xiao Chen ran over, filled with anticipation, it suddenly broke, and he fell into a bottomless abyss. The rapid fall, the suffocating fear, and the indescribable loneliness made him cry out loudly. Xiao Chen suddenly opened his eyes and sat up on the wooden bed in his bedroom. He looked around before reacting somewhat slowly. So it was just a dream? My head hurts. After a while, Xiao Chen's head ached. His tongue tasted bitter, dry, and tasteless. He felt dizzy and very uncomfortable. The side effects of drinking too much and sleeping too much forced Xiao Chen to lean back on the bed. Xiao Chen rubbed his temples with both hands as he circulated his energy to eliminate his fatigue. Soon, all sorts of discomfort vanished from Xiao Chen's body. Replacing it was a sense of relaxation that he had never experienced before. His body relaxed, but his heart felt strangely empty. Xiao Chen tossed aside the blanket and got off the bed. However, he stumbled and fell to the ground. How long have I been asleep? My body is not listening to me at all. Xiao Chen was somewhat at a loss. Then, he tried calling out to Ao Jiao. However, he discovered that there was no response. Strangely, Little Yellow Feather and Ao Jiao were not in the Immortal Spirit Ring. However, the connection between the item spirit and its master was still there. He was sure that nothing had happened to Ao Jiao, so Xiao Chen felt much more at ease. Xiao Chen got up and paced around the room. Then, he stretched his limbs and let his law energy flow through his meridians, activating his qi and blood. As Xiao Chen's qi and blood stirred, his entire mind became empty. He entered a state of clarity that he had never experienced before. It was incredibly profound. This startled Xiao Chen. He knew that he had entered a state that all cultivators dreamed of, one with heaven. This state of one with heaven would not last for long. Xiao Chen had experienced it once when he broke through in the lower realm. So, he quickly sat down cross-legged. Without any other choice, Xiao Chen used all this precious time on comprehending instant of glory. Instant of Glory was currently Xiao Qian's strongest martial technique. It was a martial technique that allowed him to execute everything he learned. It was already comparable to a medial grade, profound martial technique. Furthermore, its might was far from what a regular medial grade, profound martial technique could compare to. Currently, this move only had a rough outline. Xiao Qian had only scratched the surface, not even reaching small perfection. He absolutely could not miss out on this opportunity to comprehend one with heaven. The blazing sun, snowflakes, blue dragon, broken leaves, and all sorts of mysterious phenomena flew out of Xiao Qian's body, forming a profound picture. As Xiao Qian comprehended, more and more mysterious phenomena of martial techniques came out of his body. Four-season saber technique, myriad heaven divine fist, subduing dragon profound slash, thunder dragon chop, thunder dragon steps, flawless bright moon, thousand-year flame, thousand-year death. There were close to 100 martial techniques of various sizes. As time went by, Xiao Qian's understanding of instant of glory deepened. The directions this move could extend to were practically boundless. Eventually, it reached two paths, time and space. When the wondrous state vanished, Xiao Qian's comprehension came to a sudden stop. Although he had not managed to make a qualitative leap in instant of glory in such a short period of time, Xiao Qian managed to see the future path of this move. The state of time and space are too profound. It is not good to bite off more than one can chew now. However, I have gained a lot from this comprehension. With a thought, the instant Xiao Qian stood up, the many mysterious phenomena in the room stopped. Several mysterious phenomena disappeared, leaving only the bright moon, the night sky, and the winter snow, forming a picture of the cold moon and snow. Although the previous instant of glory was very soul-stirring and boundlessly grand, it was too chaotic in the end. There was no way to control it. Every time it was executed, it would exhaust a vast amount of law energy. Actually, there was no need for several mysterious phenomena to appear. It was not that the more mysterious phenomena one had, the more glorious they would be. Sometimes, to show glory, all one needed was a simple patch of yellow sand. Xiao Qian waved his hand, and the cold moon acupoint picture disappeared. Then, he said indifferently, "In the past, the instant of glory was just wandering outside the door. This time, I have finally entered the room. I will not go astray. With a direction and the right path, there is no need to fear the long road or the rugged roads. One would eventually climb to the peak of instant of glory." Collecting his thoughts, Xiao Qian narrowed his eyes and looked at the neatly folded white robes on the table. Only then did he realize that he was only wearing simple sleeping robes. There was also a letter on the clear wind robes, signed by Yu Bingyan. Yu Bingyan left a letter. Did she leave already? If not, there would be no need to leave a message like this. How long have I been asleep? Xiao Qian's heart was filled with questions. However, Ao Jiao and Little Yellow Feather were not around at this time. Feeling a little empty, Xiao Qian opened the envelope. The elegant handwriting made one feel a sense of lightness. The contents of the letter were not long, only 200 or 300 words. However, the contents of the letter deeply touched Xiao Qian. I wonder how much longer you're going to sleep for. It has already been 10 days, and you still have not woken up. I can only leave without saying goodbye. Actually, my destination is not the Human Demon Sea. I want to go to the Ice Sea and the Storm Sea. I want to help the Lunar Palace find two things to refine a new transcendent divine weapon. In the Bloodsword Sovereign's cave abode on Blackwater Island, there was a moment when I really thought I was going to die. I even gave up resisting. Maybe you don't know it yourself, but on the verge of death, your voice was like a ray of light that shone into hell. I shed my first tear. You and I are very similar. We both carry a great deal of pressure on our shoulders. Compared to you, what I've endured is really nothing. You're much more tired than me. It's rare to get drunk in life, but you have to wake up after that. Don't give up hope. Don't indulge your arrogance. The world is unpredictable. There will always be a chance of survival. Let's not give up. I will wait for you to become a martial emperor. If one day You need to undergo the tribulation of wind and fire. I will definitely come and help you. Take care. We will meet again if we are fated. Triple X Ubinyan stay. Triple X was a blob of smeared handwriting. Xiaoqin couldn't see it clearly, but that wasn't the point. The main point was the concern in Yu Bingyun's words. It made one feel an inexplicable warmth in his heart. Unexpectedly, this mysterious girl had such a warm side. According to the contents of the letter, Xiao Chun had slept for at least 10 days. That was a long nap. Xiao Chun put away the letter, feeling somewhat disappointed and frustrated. Yu Bingyun's departure and the various scenes in his dream. Now that he thought about it, he could not calm down. He kept feeling somewhat empty, like he had lost or forgotten something. Looking at the clear wind robes on the table, Xiao Chun held them in his hands. He could not help but recall the first time Lu Ryu had dressed him. After putting on the clear wind robes, Xiao Chun pushed open the door and went out. He discovered that the entire rock castle was deserted. Aside from the guards of some important places, most of them had left. Xiao Chun strolled around the courtyard, heading for the dragon subduing platform. Before he went to the conflagration restaurant, the dragon's subduing platform had nearly been repaired. Since Yu Bingyun had already left, she should have already dealt with the final matters. When Xiao Chun arrived at the backyard, he was somewhat surprised to discover an old man in sackcloth robes. This old man had an ordinary air and an extremely thick beard, looking around excitedly on the dragon's subduing platform. "Who are you?" Xiao Chun asked somewhat warily. This old man's appearance was very strange. Earlier, when Xiao Chun sent out his spiritual sense, he did not sense anyone else in the courtyard. The hemp-robed old man turned his head and smiled. "You're awake. Don't be nervous. This is my home. If I wanted to take away your dragon-subduing platform, I would have plenty of opportunities to do so while you were asleep." Chapter 1179. Xiao Chun looked carefully. Although he could not make out this person's cultivation, he could still sense the aura of rock and flame. This person should be an older generation Emperor Wu, with a high cultivation in the Rock Castle. He was more knowledgeable and recognized the complete dragon subduing platform. Since that was the case, Xiao Chun stopped thinking about it. When the hemp-robed old man saw Xiao Chun, he looked like he had lost something. So he asked with a smile, "Young man, what's wrong? You seem to be out of it after sobering up." Xiao Chun was not willing to elaborate. He asked, "Does Senior know how long I slept for?" "Not that long, just about half a month. Unfortunately, I missed the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. It started today." Outstanding Talent Summit meeting? No wonder the people in the castle were not around. They must have gone to the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting to support the Flame Rock Castle's buy-in. Strange. Why are you not reacting at all? Isn't it a pity to miss the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting? The hemp-robed old man asked. As Xiao Chun walked around the dragon's subduing platform, he discovered that Yu Bingyun had indeed finished repairing it. All he needed to do was leave a spiritual mark, and he would be able to use it. After hearing the old man's words, Xiao Chun answered, "Naturally, it is a pity. However, it is already too late. Even if it is a pity, it is useless. I will take this dragon subduing platform and leave." "You are rather indifferent. I heard that you can drink a lot. Are you interested in having a drink or two with me?" The hemp-robed old man took out a bottle of wine. He did not put on any airs as he invited Xiao Chun with a smile. Xiao Chun did not know what Ao Jiao was doing. She had not returned yet, so he could not leave for now. There was no harm in drinking a few cups. After receiving the wine cups, the two, one old and one young, casually sat on the steps and clinked their cups. After a few cups, Xiao Chun's mood slowly improved, and he spoke more with the old man. Their topics ranged from martial techniques, to wine tasting, to geomancy, to ancient secrets. They talked about everything. The hemp-robed old man's horizons startled Xiao Chun slightly. As the old man spoke, he inadvertently revealed many things that Xiao Chun had not heard of. There were also some insights on the martial way that were even more direct, pointing out the flaws in the martial way. Xiao Chun did not seem like an ordinary martial emperor at all. Even if he were a martial emperor, his knowledge would not be as broad as Xiao Chun's. If he had not been there personally, he would not have been able to explain the secrets of several forbidden lands so clearly. He even knew the great forbidden lands like the back of his hand. For example, the hemp-robed old man knew the Mirage Immortal Palace, which Xiao Chun was very interested in. The timing of this Mirage Immortal Palace's appearance is uncertain. Its location is also unknown. Even in the Forbidden Lands, it is considered rather mysterious. Unless it appears on its own, there is no way of knowing where it is. The hemp-robed old man took a sip of wine and continued. Unlike the heart of the ocean, where one can enter the immortal graveyard and the distant sea dragon grave at any time, there are many good things in there. However, there is danger at every step. If one is not careful, even a sovereign martial emperor might fall in there. Not just anyone dares to enter. Xiao Chun felt curious. He asked, "What are the secrets behind the 8 great forbidden lands? After so many years, has no one figured them out?" When the hemp-robed old man heard this, he could not help smiling. It is not that no one has figured them out. It is just that no one dares to be sure. For example, this Mirage Immortal Palace. If I were to guess, it would be the temporary residence of a powerhouse from the ancient era. It is very possible that this powerhouse eventually advanced to martial god and left this abandoned land of ours. Xiao Qin's expression changed. Is there really a martial god? Martial god is just a title. I'm not sure if there is one or not. However, there are definitely existences higher than Prime. Every sovereign martial emperor is very clear on this. It is just that we sadly live in this abandoned land. Every powerhouse of the martial way that left erased all traces of their existence. At this point, the hemp-robed old man revealed a clear trace of sadness and sorrow in his eyes. This trace of sadness and sorrow was something Xiao Chun had seen in the Haotian martial emperor's eyes before. It was very similar, both expressing a kind of helpless rage. You definitely do not want to reach my level in the future and face the same sadness and helplessness, right? The hemp-robed old man suddenly asked seriously. Xiao Chun did not understand. Then the hemp-robed old man pulled him up and tossed him a medallion. So, muster up your fighting spirit. Don't look so dejected. Don't give up on the path that you have been persevering on. Wine is not used to numb your fighting spirit. It is used to ignite it. You still have to participate in the Outstanding Talents Summit meeting. Huh? The hemp-robed old man smashed the wine cup in his hand. Then, an irresistible tyrannical aura appeared from his body, making breathing difficult. The hemp-robed old man picked up Xiao Chun and tossed him into the air. A spatial tear opened. Just as Xiao Chun was about to resist, the power of space sucked him in. Then, the spatial tear quickly closed. Flame Rock Sovereign, you old fellow. Where'd you toss my Xiao Chun to? Ao Jiao, who rushed back from outside, happened to see this scene. Her expression changed drastically as she exclaimed. When the hemp-robed old man saw Ao Jiao, his insufferably tyrannical aura immediately vanished. He smiled with narrowed eyes and said, "Big Sister Ao, don't be angry. I just tossed him to where he belongs." "Don't call me Big Sister, you old man." The sound of a fist rang out. The livid Ao Jiao sent the hemp-robed old man flying with a punch. Dark City's Outstanding Talent Summit meeting was held once every 5 years. Every time it was held, it would be incredibly grand. This was especially so for this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. There was the strong return of the Blood Shark Sovereign's descendant, Huang Yun, the rising popularity of the new expert, Sima Lingxian, and the sudden emergence of the 3 great experts of the Outer Star Sea. The intense battles were confusing, with climaxes rising one after another. Until the end, the victor would remain a mystery. This was because the peak experts of this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting were too close in strength. No one could make a judgment beforehand. Everyone thought that with Huang Yun's strong return, he would continue his dominance from back then, sweeping through everyone and becoming the champion in one go. Who could have imagined that Sima Lingxuan's rise would surpass everyone's expectations? Since the start of the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting, he had never been defeated. His momentum flourished and his popularity soared. The human demon Seas Mo ran, the ice Seas Lung Xian, and the Storm C's Ouyang Feng also made everyone's eyes light up. They defeated Lu Yun, Zhao Feng, and the other popular outstanding youths of Dark City one after another. The only thing that the crowd found unfortunate was that the famous white-robed bladesman, who had beaten up the crowd in a drunken manner, did not come to participate. According to the rules of the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting, if a cultivator with the Outstanding Talent token did not participate, it would be equivalent to forfeiting. Given this, everyone was disappointed. This was especially so for the cultivators who had seen Xiao Chun compete in drinking with the crowd at the Conflagration restaurant. They all felt very disappointed. These people had rushed over to watch Xiao Chun compete, wanting to witness the white-robed bladesman's glory again. Who could have imagined that the white-robed bladesman would actually forfeit? If not for the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting being very eye-catching, he would have left long ago. Round after round of the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting continued. Soon, the strongest four appeared. Huang Yin expended a lot of effort to defeat Bai Yin, obtaining a spot in the top four. Next was Sima Lingxian. He defeated the popular Lu Yun, who also used the sword. The third spot went to the human demon C's Mo Ran. His opponent was Zhao Feng. This was a very dangerous match. After Mo Ran completely demonized, he nearly lost. This was because Zhao Feng had learned a medial grade, profound martial technique. If Mo Ran had not grasped it well, he might have been the one to lose. This was a very dangerous match. The fourth spot went to the two young experts of the Storm Sea and the IC. This internal conflict was probably because the organizers did not want the experts of the Outer Seas to obtain too many spots in the top four, so they made them fight amongst themselves. Lung Xian's and Ouyang Feng's battle was exceptionally marvelous. It allowed the tens of thousands of spectators to experience the different performances of the Will of Ice and the Will of Storm, broadening their horizons. Bai Yin, who had already lost his right to continue fighting, watched very seriously, nodding his head repeatedly. Bai Yin glanced over and saw Huang Yun, who was resting with his eyes closed. Huang Yin seemed to sense Bai Yan's gaze, so he opened his eyes and smiled in disdain. This immediately enraged Bai Yin. If not for the rules, he would have gone up to fight again. Damn it. If not for the dragon scale armor I obtained outside, this old man would not have lost to you so easily, Bai Yin said, unconvinced. Ba, too, who was at the side, also said depressedly, Brother Xiao Chun did not come. If he had come, he might have been able to help you vent your frustrations. It is really unfortunate that this fellow did not come. With his strength, he would not have any problems getting into the top three. He would definitely obtain a medial grade, profound martial technique, Bai Yin said with a nod. Bai Yin nodded. Even now, he still could not see through Xiao Chun's strength. After all, Xiao Chun had gotten drunk that day. Many outstanding talents had gotten drunk as well. Under such unusual circumstances, it was very difficult to judge a person's strength. However, Bai Yin was confident that Xiao Chun would not have any problems getting into the top three. It might even be possible for Xiao Chun to defeat this insufferably arrogant Huang Yun. The crucial thing was that this fellow had gotten drunk and slept for half a month. No matter how Bai Yin called out to him, he would not wake up. When Ba Lingxian thought about it, he found it both funny and infuriating. Sima Lingxian, who obtained a spot in the top four, also felt it was unfortunate that Xiao Chun did not come. Trampling on Xiao Chun in public had always been Sima Lingxian's dream. How could he be satisfied with missing out on such a great opportunity? Huqi, a cold light, flashed in the storm. Then, a sword light forced Ouyang Feng out of the arena. Finally, the final top four was decided. The IC's Lung Xian was more skilled, defeating Ouyang Feng. After the top four were determined, they all recovered and drew lots to determine their opponents. Then, they returned to the arenas. The arenas of the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting would merge with each other after every round. After several rounds of battles, there were only 2 arenas left. When the final battle came, they would merge again, leaving only 1 arena. This Outstanding Talent Summit meeting slowly entered its climax. After the top 4, It would start with the most anticipated fight for the championship. Just as Sima Lingxian and the other three finished drawing their lots and walked up to the arenas, they bowed and prepared to fight. Something strange happened. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the sky above the arena. This crack passed through several spatial formations and forced its way in. This sudden scene caused everyone to turn their gazes to the crack in the sky. They had no idea what was going on. Just as the experts in charge of the city lord's residence were preparing to make a move, they received a piece of news. Their expressions changed for some reason, finding this inconceivable.